Stand up, New York Giant fans. Before I get started, I just want to say stand up, new member. Asia, thank you for becoming a member again. And MY Giants 26, thank you for becoming a member again. Baddog, what's going on, my man?
What's going on? I saw somebody in the chat said we're late. We're celebrities. We can do that.
45 seconds late, and people are going crazy.
God, that's my fault. I didn't know what time it was. I'm talking to Chris. Blame me.
So how you been?
Tired. That's pretty much what it is. Like I said right before we came on, I need the All-Star break as much as the Lakers do right now.
Yeah, and we're gonna get this show up and rocking. Just obviously not a ton to talk about as of late. We're trying to do it weekly. We're trying to get back on it. Obviously, the Knicks and Lakers kind of had conflicting schedules this week, but this is the one night that both of them were off. So we said we'll do the Giants show tonight. There's a bit of news we'll talk about. Obviously, the Nate Solder stuff, some potential free agency rumors. I'm sure people want to talk about that, some draft stuff, whatever it may be. Rashad Bateman ran the 4.39 time. All of a sudden, Giants Twitter thinks he's the next Odell Beckham, and we'll see if the New York Giants are interested in him at number 11. And Pat Flaherty is back. Obviously, he was the offensive line coach with the New York Giants under Tom Coughlin when we won 2 Super Bowls. He was there for all 12 years of Coughlin's tenure, so I think that's a good pickup by the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you got a guy with championship experience, a veteran guy, definitely somebody like that could help the young offensive line get it together, mold, and build that. Because that's what we want. I mean, I know some of these guys, they had ups and downs. They're a very young squad, man, and you want to build that. They're gonna have their growing pains, and they did last year. But you want these guys to play together for years to come, so they build cohesiveness and chemistry, and they become a great offensive line. And that's what Gettleman's trying to do. And yeah, they struggled. Andrew Thomas struggled. Some of the season. Lemieux was bad at some of the season. I mean, they were all bad, but they were also all good at some point during the season. So. Maybe not the best pass blockers, but when Wayne Gallman was running the ball for 100 yards, or they had, 100 yards 6 games in a row, obviously the young offensive line was able to do well there, especially considering the fact that we don't have any offensive weapons. We didn't have any Saquon Barkley. We don't have a number 1 wide receiver, a true number 1 wide receiver, and we have a tight end that sucks, which is why, when people talk about Rashad Bateman's 40 time is nothing. I hate the 40. I can't stand the 40-yard dash. I hate it. It's all glitz. That's all it is. It's like driving for show and punting for dough. You can run as fast as you like. Evan Ingram runs a 4.42 40, right? Evan Ingram ran faster than Odell Beckham. How good? What does it get him if he can't catch the ball? What does it get you if you can't get over? What John Ross, the fastest 40 time in the history of the combine, 4.22. What's he doing these days? Come on. Okay.
Yeah, no, with Bateman, I think why people are going crazy is because the book on him. And the other thing is you got to take this with, a grain of salt, because it's not the combine. It's not the official speed. We all know that during these pro days, they try to jack up the speed a little bit, try to make the prospects.
A great example, Chris. Jalen Reagor ran like a 4.27 in his pro day, but he ran like a 4.47 at the combine.
That's why you can't go by it. There was rumors that there was only 38 yards instead of 40 yards at some of these combines. You can't read too much into this. But I think the book on him was, at least from what I read, that he wasn't blazing speed. And he's 6'2". He's known as a good route runner. And I think people saw that speed and they start to get excited. They say he's going to be climbing up draft boards, and maybe he will. Bateman is, widely regarded as the fourth best wide receiver prospect in this class. People going crazy, but to circle back to Flaherty, I think it's a really good move by the New York Giants. I think it only adds to this coaching staff. I love the offensive line coach they brought in to begin with. Ironically enough, Flaherty was with the Dolphins in 2019, where we got all of our coaches from, but he was fired before he started the job in 2019, and they hired Coach Googs. So they fired him before he even started his tenure with the Dolphins, and now we had Coach Googs, and now, in essence, he's replacing Coach Googs in a way. He's going to be the offensive advisor, but had great success, obviously, with Coughlin, and he's only going to bring veteran leadership in the coaching room, and he's known to be really good with film. So I think that's only going to help Joe Judge. JB, man, thank you very much. Trade back for 15, Gilmore, and maybe a 4th. Okay, so that's another rumor that I've been hearing mainly on Giants Twitter. And Neil, man, thank you so much. Stand up, new member. And yeah, there's been rumors that the Patriots would look to trade Gilmore. I suppose. I think we're living in the clouds with trades like that, but maybe it happens. But I haven't heard anything in terms of legitimacy behind those rumors outside of people talking about it on Twitter. Is it possible? Sure. But the thing I continue to say, Bad Dog, for us to be able to trade down, there has to be a reason for a team to trade up. And if you're the New England Patriots, in my opinion, the only reason to trade up more than likely is going to be for a quarterback if they don't fix that situation in free agency. I very much doubt that they trade up for a corner. There's 3 good cornerbacks in this class. J.C. Horn, you could easily get at 15. I don't see the value in trading up from 15 to 11 for a corner. If there's a quarterback that drops, I suppose it's possible. But Dave Gettleman's track record would tell you that more than likely he's not going to be trading down in the first round.
And I don't see why the Patriots will get rid of Gilmore and move up 4 spots. Like I said, there's really nothing. There is nobody to trade up for unless, like you said, it's a quarterback. And I don't think a quarterback's going to fall to them at number 11. So obviously they would have to move up much farther in the draft. And honestly, Gilmore's an older player. I don't really know, if I'd want him. I mean, obviously anything's going to be an upgrade, the cornerback 2 position. But to me, I know it's interesting, man. I'm a defensive guy, but I've said it a number of times, I'm all about offense in this year's draft. I want everything that can be done to know whether Daniel Jones is the guy or not, man. That's the most important part of your franchise. You got to know yes or no. There is no, well, he can do this. Well, he didn't have weapons. Well, he didn't have an offensive line. Well, he don't have a number 1 receiver. Well, he don't have a tight end. Can't have that. We got to know. Yep, he is. Nope, he's not. Got to know. Just like the Jets know it's Sam Darnold. They know he's not. He's moving on. They're going to get rid of him. They're going to draft the quarterback. There's no doubt. He talks about Darnold going to Washington, which has been – I hope he does. Yeah. I really hope he does go there because they're going to get rid of Alex Smith. I hope
they already got rid of him.
Oh, they did get rid of him.
Yeah,
okay.
they officially got rid of him.
I just saw that they were going to release him. I didn't know that they actually did. I saw a bunch of.
I could be wrong. I think I read that they did, but maybe I misread.
Well, they all the Washington video makers say that he's going to be released. So
maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, I just knew they were going to. I didn't know that it happened now, but I know that he wasn't going to be there. So that's stupid. I don't know what Washington's doing there. They're not going to get a quarterback at 19. So I think they're going to make a run at Sam Darnold. You won't have to give up much. Buy a 3rd round, 4th round pick. Darnold ain't going to command anything in a trade market. Nobody wants him. His contract's at the end of his rookie. He's at the end of his rookie contract, so you're going to have to pay him. Jets ain't going to pay him. I want to know what Daniel Jones, because at the end of year 3, we have to know.
Yep.
Paying him or we're not paying him.
100%.
All about offense in this draft. I don't care if it's Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle. I want Kyle Pitts, but I don't care if it's any of those wide receivers or Kyle Pitts. I want somebody.
Yeah.
That's a number 1 guy that can score in the red zone, that can get open, that can catch the ball.
That's the name of the game in this offseason. I'm with you on that. Clocks, man, thank you so much. Says hashtag crack size matters. Moxie Penny going to as low as 9. Thomas Blakeson, right tackle at Georgia. Would the Giants act if he's available in the 7 to 10 range? Maybe trade picks with the Lions, or do we stay at 11? Clocks, I'd be very surprised if the Giants trade up. I would be very surprised. I am never, and I love Penny Sewell. I think he's a great prospect. He's a guy with elite upside, and I would not be upset at all if the Giants drafted him 11. There's certain prospects that are hard to pass up. He's one of them. He's a potential generational tackle. But there's so many good players that are potentially going to be there at 11, and tackle is probably not our most immediate need. I don't see the Giants trading up. Now, if he falls to us, well, then you got to think long and hard about potentially drafting him. But I don't think the Giants are going to trade up in this draft. I would be very surprised if they traded down or traded up. I think it'd be more likely they could trade down, but I don't think either one is going to come to fruition.
Yeah, I mean, if the Eagle fans seem to think Jalen Hurts is the answer. Eagle fans they smoke crack. I don't know what the hell they see in Jalen Hurts. Guy got benched for Nate Sudfeld, remember? He had one good game against New Orleans, and then they got film on him. He struggled. I'm not going to go into the Jalen Hurts thing, but if the Eagles are smart, they draft Penei Sewell. They draft him.
I am in complete agreement. Okay, here's what I'm going to say about the Eagles pick, and then we're going to get to Tudo, my man. Here's what I'm going to say about the Eagles pick. If I'm an Eagles fan, I'm in rebuild mode now. That's the way I look at it.
And they are in rebuild. They got rid of Wentz. They released Deshaun Jackson. They're getting rid of everybody.
And if you're in rebuild mode, you don't draft a wide receiver. Mm-hmm. You draft either a long-term offensive lineman, in my opinion, if Sewell's there, or Rashawn Slater, or you draft a quarterback.
Yep.
Those are, in my opinion, if I'm an Eagles fan, that's all I want there. I don't want a wide receiver because I personally wouldn't feel like Hurts is part of the future of that football team. Now, for Eagles fans that do, more power to you. He's going to be in a really bad situation.
What did you say years ago? Learn football. Learn football. It's not the future, but you're going to build a future, and it's not Jalen Hurts. But if you think it is Jalen Hurts, you still need to protect the guy. So they'd be smart to go offensive lineman, which is why I think one of these wide receivers are going to follow us, because there's going to be 4 quarterbacks that go in the top 10. There's no doubt about that. Fields is going, Lawrence is going, Lance is going, and Wilson is going.
You're starting to see Mac Jones go in the top 10 in some of these.
You definitely could see Mac Jones go in the top,
which is crazy to me.
So it is insane, but they'd be smart to do that. But yeah, I mean, if Penei Sewell's there again, it's something I think of. Now, Clocks mentioned Andrew Thomas played right tackle his freshman year. He hasn't played right tackle since. So I don't know if I'd want to move him. After he struggled at left tackle a little bit. He got better as the year progressed. I don't know if I'd want to take him and move him to right tackle, make him learn that spot all over again. So I'm not really sure what to do there, but
he's still. To me, it's about familiarity, especially with an offensive line. Those guys are used to playing in the spots they've been playing, not just them, but the players around them. I don't want to screw with Andrew Thomas. The guy just got good the second half of the year. I don't want to start moving him around the line. I'm in agreement with you on that. Tudo says, "Ciao, my paisanos. Baddog Talkin. Salute. How you doing, fellas? What's going on, Tudo?"
Salute. Grazie, paisana. Grazie. Yeah. How you doing, buddy? Always good to see my man Tudo Azzurri in the house.
What's going on, Tudo, man? Tudo's the man. Yes. And Yuri says, "I'll laugh if Sam Darnold goes to Washington. He stinks."
Listen, I'll be honest. If Washington only has to give up a 3rd or a 4th round pick for Sam Darnold, it'd be well worth it. He's 22 years old or 23, whatever he is. He's on last year's contract, so it's not like you're going to have to pay him a lot. If he sucks, you move on from him. Yeah. You're not going to have to extend him unless that's part of the deal, but they wouldn't have to give him an offer. He's at the end of his rookie contract, so if they get traded, they got nothing to lose. 1 year, he approve a deal for him, and if they don't have to give up much, it's not a big move. I would love it personally because I know he stinks, and he'd get murdered in Washington because they still have no weapons there. So, yeah, I mean – but
I'm with you on Darnold. I don't think it would necessarily be a horrible move. You're not going to have to give up much. Right. But I've talked about Darnold, and I've said I think if he's in the right situation, he could be good. I don't think Washington's the right situation. Their offensive line sucks. So I don't think it's the right situation. Mariota, people have talked about him. I think Washington's in trouble at the quarterback position. I don't think you're going to get an instant impact starter in the draft at 19. I'm going to be honest. I think Washington's in trouble. I really do. I think they're in trouble at the quarterback position.
Yeah. No, they are. Good for them. The Eagles are in trouble at the quarterback position. So is Dallas. Of all the teams in this division, the Giants have the best quarterback situation.
Now, do you think – let's talk about the Dallas situation real quick, and then I'm going to get to Tudo and Clocks.
Did Mark Holmes just made another Dak video?
No.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what we're talking right now.
He's made 3 Dak videos since we've been live.
He swung into my stream last night. He said, "Shouldn't you be making a Dak Prescott?" I love Mark. God, he loves Dak Prescott.
Oh, he loves Dak Prescott. But no, all kidding aside, do you think they're going to sign Dak to a long-term contract extension before the year starts, or do you think they franchise him?
I think they're tagging him again. And listen. I wouldn't blame Dallas for doing that. He's coming off a major injury. You got to see. I would not want to give Dak Prescott all that money. I mean, I know it's not a tendon thing, so bones heal better than tendons, okay? But at the same time, that's a major injury, man. You're coming back from, a freaking a compound fracture. That's not like a broken ankle or something. That was a serious injury. And I would want to see how he plays. And if I'm Dak Prescott, you bet on yourself again. I mean, you say, hey, I know I can do this. I'm 100%. Because if Dak Prescott would have played out the whole season, he would have got paid. He was on that thing. Although the Dallas Cowboys were 2-5 of them there and had 2 very lucky wins against Atlanta and us. And Dak didn't even lead them to victory against us. It was Andy Dalton that did it. So it's not like Dallas is winning with Dak, but Dak was putting up good numbers. How much of those were skewed because they were way behind? Who knows? But it just goes to show you how hard it is to find a franchise quarterback in this league. And, I think Dallas can't let him walk. So I think they'll tag him. And I think that Dak, if he's smart, will take it and try to get a big contract next year because I don't think
do the same thing that Cousins did.
Right.
Take your 2 franchise tag, take your $37 million guaranteed. And if you pull out, you get a big contract the next year. I'm with you on that. Tudo, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Did you feel the earthquake in Detroit last night? They were my Knicks, my man. You could feel it all the way from Italy. Please, all fasten your seatbelts because they are coming back. That's right, my man. Knicks looking good.
They ain't coming back. They are back. They're fourth in the East.
18 and 17.
This is the best. Number one, I don't remember the last time the Knicks were over 500 this late in the season.
I think it was when I was born. I think it was 1985.
It wasn't quite that long ago, but might have been 2012, 2013. That was the last time they were any good.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking 8 years ago, and they still had a letdown because they should have made the Eastern Conference Finals. They got some heat that year, and they lost to the Pacers, which ticked me off. But they're fun. That team is exciting to watch, man. You know, I mean, I stream the Lakers games, but I watch all the Knicks games every night. I sit there. Well, last night I couldn't because I was streaming the Lakers, and I taped the Knicks, and then I saw the final score, and I'm like, I don't need to watch that. The Pistons stink. But I love Quickly. How do you not love Emmanuel Quickly? How do you not love the heart of this team, man? Julius Randle's a freaking animal, man. Julius Randle is one of the best players in the league. He's such a great overall player. Derrick Rose fits right in to the scheme, you know, and I mean, you got
Derrick Rose has been a godsend off the bench, but to me, the guy that needs to get the most credit, and Randall's been fantastic. I'm ecstatic that he's in the All-Star game.
Thibodeau.
The guy that deserves Thibodeau. Thibodeau should be the coach of the year in
great.
the NBA.
Completely agree.
Should be the coach of the year. What he's gotten out of this team, a team that everybody, it kind of like Judge, you know, even better, but kind of like Judge, that hard-nosed coach that came in and set the culture for this basketball team.
I tell you something. I said before, the Giants and Knicks and the Rangers all have extremely bright futures. This New York Knicks team reminds me a lot of the 90s Knicks teams and the fact that they didn't have the most talent, but they got the most out of their talent, and they fought every freaking night. They had a lot of heart, a lot of grit, and you love that as a New Yorker. So I'm excited for the Knicks, man. I'm excited to watch them play the Lakers, too. I told all the Laker fans, I said, listen, when I call that game, I'll be wearing neutral colors. I'm not wearing Laker stuff. I'm not wearing Knicks stuff. I'll call it like I'm calling a Laker game, but trust me, I'm rooting for the Knicks. I'll be rooting for the Knicks to beat the Lakers. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But those should be great games.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man.
Julius going back to face his old team again.
Yeah, Clocks, man, thank you very much. Hypothetical, are you guys saying if we flip with the Lions, get 7, they get 11, plus a 2 next year, and we get our tackle for the next 15, no interest? One, I think it's going to cost more than that. If you're going to move up from 11 to 7, I think it would probably cost maybe a second and a third, maybe a future third with this year's second, and we don't have a lot of draft picks to begin with. Oh. Listen, if they think Penei Sewell is the second coming of, you know, the greatest tackle of all time, Jonathan Ogden, maybe they do think about it. But I'm going to tell you right now, Cox, I'd be shocked if the New York Giants trade up in this year's draft. Usually when you trade up that early in a draft, it is almost, I would say 85 to 90% of the time for a quarterback. And we're not doing that. I'm not telling you that we may not trade up later in the draft, but when you got to trade up in the top 10 picks, you got to give up a ton. And to do that, generally, you're going to do it for a quarterback. Yeah. So I'd be surprised, especially being that we drafted 3 offensive linemen last year, 2 of which were tackles. So I'd be surprised, Cox. I'd be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, again, like you said, they drafted 3 tackles or 3 offensive linemen last year. So I can't see the Giants getting rid of draft capital just to move up 4 spots to get another tackle. It would be a strange move because the Giants have so many other holes on this team besides the tackle spot. We don't really have a reliable tight end. We don't have a number 1 wide receivers. Everybody has made that perfectly clear this entire season. We could definitely use a cornerback too. We could definitely use a guy like Micah Parsons.
An edge.
Right, an edge rusher. There's talk of Greg Rousseau going in. Not that I would like him. I'd rather have Pay from Michigan, but it is what it is. But the Giants have a lot more issues, I think, other than tackle, because I felt like they addressed that a lot last year. Obviously, Cam Fleming came in here. He was not supposed to be the starter, which could lead us into our next point about Nate Solder, Chris, because Nate Solder obviously was supposed to be part of this team last year. Cam Fleming was there for backup purposes and for depth. When Solder held out, Cam Fleming got thrown right into the, out of the frying pan and into the fire, and he wasn't very good. So, and he was paired according to PFF, but PFF, the hell of PFF. PFF is so stupid. You can skew any statistic you want to fit your argument. It doesn't matter what you do. And who are these guys? What formula do they use? What is it that they, oh, look at this, look at that. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
You know, somebody was talking about on one of my videos talking about the Giants' average yards per separation was like 0.5, and the average is like 2.5 yards. I'm like, number one, there's no way the average receiver's open by 2.5 yards. That's wide open in the NFL. There'd be a million touchdowns, so if receivers are open by 2.5 yards.
No, that's not true, yeah.
Regardless, how do you know that a receiver ain't open by 2.5 yards and Daniel Jones throws a late, doesn't see him, doesn't look? How do you know? How do you know that they don't have separation and Daniel Jones just goes over here, or he didn't have time to locate the receiver that was wide open? You have no idea. That's why those things are so stupid to me. Watch the game. You'll learn a lot by watching the game. Don't read PFF. Don't read these lists and these rankings and all this crap. Just look at the game. I'll tell you a lot. Yogi Berra said you can observe a lot by watching. That's what you got to do.
I'm with you for the most part. I think it's a tool, but not the whole tool bag. That's for damn sure with PFF. JB, man, thank you very much. Ingram pitched 2 tight end sets like the Pats back in the day.
Hey, I'm in.
Listen, if he falls to us at 5, which at 11 rather, which I'm leaning that he's probably not, but we'll see. He's definitely a guy that the New York Giants will absolutely
Where
be
do you think
considering.
he goes?
I'm looking at the draft boards right, and I was thinking about doing a mock draft this week again. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do it, but I just think from everything I'm reading, and this may change. I think he's going to go before us. Whether it's Carolina, whether it's the Eagles, whether it's Atlanta, somebody trading down, I don't know, but I would be surprised if he's there for us at number 11.
Atlanta's taking a quarterback.
I agree. I tend to agree. I think they're going to go quarterback.
Eagles would have I hope they do draft Pitts. That would totally screw them up. You don't rebuild with a tight end. So.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
But I just have a feeling he's going to be gone by the time we pick. We'll see. He won't go to
He very well could be. I don't know if he's done his pro day yet or not. But
no, he hasn't. No. He won't go to Detroit because they drafted Hockenson 7th overall a couple of years ago. So that's one team.
Dallas, they need defense. The worst.
You know what? As much as you want Pitts, you should hope Dallas takes him because that's the last thing they need.
No, I know.
They need to help that offensive line. That's getting older. They definitely need the defense.
Going to go there. I could see that happening.
I think Surtain's a great fit there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can see him going there.
Mighty Mango, man, thank you very much, man. Hello, Chris. Hope all is well with you. All is going well here. Miss football bad. Trust me, we miss it just as much as you do, but it'll be here before you know it.
Yeah, there you go. 5 months.
The draft is going to get the juices flowing. The free agency will get the juices flowing. Then the draft. And then you start to get the mandatory mini camps, the OTAs, and that takes you right to preseason football.
Yeah, the draft will be fun.
JB, man, thank you very much, man. Any interest in AJ Green for a mentor? No. How old is he now, Baddog?
31, 32.
He's got tons of injury history. He's not the player he was.
Down.
Nah. I'll pass. If we're going to get a cheaper receiver, I'm going for like a guy like Tyrell Williams, a guy that's younger, a guy coming off an injury that you take a flyer on. To me, A.J. Green is not near what he once was. So I have no interest in A.J. Green.
Yeah. No, me neither.
Dart, man, thank you very much, man. Yo, what's up? Haven't been here in a while. Go Knicks. Well, I appreciate that, Dart. Yeah, man, I'll be streaming the Knicks game tomorrow, man. Looking forward to it, man. Thanks for being here, buddy. Noah says, let's use Chris's Faruqi money to bring everyone back to the G-Men and get a wide receiver. Bad Dog, I wish that Faruqi, and by the way, for sponsor of the channel, there's a quick plug. I wish that they were giving me enough money to be able to get a wide receiver on the New York Giants. Noah, believe me.
I mean, they could. They just have to pay a little cap penalty. They just have to pay a luxury tax, whatever the hell it is, a cap penalty. They could. They're the Giants, damn it. They got money. They're New York.
Let's talk about the wide receiver position in free agency. Let's start with the J.J. Watt contract today and what you think is going to happen with Leonard Williams. Watt, and maybe you have a different opinion on this. Watt's a guy I didn't think he was going to get as much as he did. You're talking about an older guy, a guy with injury history. They give him $16 million a year, basically, $15.5 on average. If I'm Leonard Williams, I'm looking at that. I'm saying to myself, I'm coming off a much better year. J.J. Watt only had like 4 sacks. The year before, he only played 8 games. I'm 5 years younger. I had probably the second best year at my position in the league, behind the best player in the league, in Aaron Donald. I could make at least $20 million. So how do you see this playing out now with the New York Giants?
J.J. Watt's first 5 years in the league, he had 74.5 sacks. Last 5 years he played, he had 26 sacks. He had one good year in 2018 and also skewed that. Outside of that, I think he had 16 sacks in 2018. He had 4 sacks those other 4 to 5 years, or 10 sacks those other 4 to 5 years. He's done. It's over. Now, maybe he gets reinvigorated in Arizona. If he stays healthy, maybe he has a nice year. J.J. Watt got paid based on who he is, not his production. He got paid based on his name. That's really what happened. Arizona's very hard up for an edge rusher. There's no doubt about that. Their defense is still very shoddy over there. And maybe he'll be a nice fit. Giants are going to have to sign Leonard Williams. We talked about it before the stream about tagging him. And like I said, the Giants can offer him a tag. If I'm Leonard Williams, I'm not signing that. I'm not signing a tag if I'm Leonard Williams. I would say, nope, I want my damn money. And he should want his money. The guy deserves to get paid. Dave Gettleman traded for this guy. Dave Gettleman obviously saw something in Leonard Williams. And there's just no way it would look bad to me. It would look bad on Dave Gettleman to trade these picks and then just let him walk. So although we would get a compensatory pick for him, I think they got to sign him. I think Leonard Williams would take a discount. I'm not saying he's going to take $16 million a year, but I can see maybe $18.5, $19 million a year. But they got to front load the contract. If you're going to give Leonard Williams, and Chris, we talk about this all the time. It's not the money; it's the years.
It's the years for me.
So
I'm even willing to overpay. So I think a lot of people look at it like that, and then we're gonna get to Taco. I think a lot of people look at it like that. They say, "There's no way I would ever give this guy $21 million a year." I personally would rather give him $21 million a year on a 3-year contract than $18 million a year on a 5-year contract.
Right.
I pay the extra $3 million per year to give myself more cap flexibility going forward. I see a lot of people on Twitter talking about this today, Baddog, and they're saying, how good of a job did Gettleman do clearing up the cap? The Giants don't even have one of the top 15 cap spaces in football right now. Well, Baddog, look at the contracts on this team. They have no long-term commitments. This team now has it. They have it in the budget going forward to be able to retain the players on this team that they need to retain, and that's what the good teams do. You look at the best teams in football, they're not going out and spending sprees in free agency. They structure their cap accordingly to be able to keep the young players on their roster that they draft, and they keep them on the football team. And I think the Giants have done a really good job with that. And I would sooner overpay for Leonard Williams on a per-year basis than give him what I think is fair market value for a longer contract.
Right, and front load it so you can get out after 3 years if you sign him for 4 years.
Yeah,
I'm thinking 4 years, $75 million is somewhere in there. 4 years, $78 million. I can see him taking something like that. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility, giving him $19.5 million a year for 4 years. And again, front load the contract so that his last year you don't owe him anything. So you can get out of it after 3 years and be done with it. He'll be 29 at that point. It's a difference.
Yeah,
I think he's coming back, though. I think the Giants got to sign him.
We'll see. Taco, man, thank you very much. His thoughts on the Knicks trade rumors, Oladipo and Drummond. I don't know much about Drummond. I didn't read anything on that. I know that Drummond they may be releasing, from what I've heard. I don't know if you heard anything on that, Baddog, but
no, I hear a lot about Drummond. Seeing as I do all the Lakers stuff, I hear a lot about Drummond all the time.
Yeah, no, I mean in terms
Drummond makes $28 million. Now I don't know what the Knicks cap space is, but
they have a lot. The Knicks have a ton.
$28 million is a lot for Drummond. You're better off. This is the problem with Drummond. Okay. Drummond is going to get bought out by Cleveland. I can't see anybody really making a move for Andre Drummond, but Andre Drummond's a piece that you bring in when you're ready to win a championship. The Knicks aren't there yet. They're going in that direction. They're not there yet. Don't blow up. Don't blow the Knicks up.
I agree. That's what I try to tell Taco all the time. We're not ready to compete for a championship. Don't blow this up yet.
Do what you did with Melo. It was too soon. Don't do that. Yeah. And if Cleveland buys him out, Drummond can go wherever he wants.
And he ain't going to the Knicks.
Not going to the Knicks.
Yeah.
Because you have 1 year to go win a championship. He's going to go to the Nets. He's going to go to the Lakers. He's going to go to the Clippers. Wherever. And he can sign for whatever he wants. So he can sign for less and say, I just want to win a championship that he can get paid next year. So Drummond don't fit. I know a lot more about Drummond than I do Oladipo.
Oladipo's a guy that he's a free agent next year. If you could get him really cheap like we did with Rose, go ahead, have at it. But if I'm giving up first-round picks, I'm not doing it. He's a free agent next year. There's no need to rush. What am I rushing for? To get a little bit of a higher seed this year and get knocked out in the first or second round?
They don't give up picks.
No thanks. I'm not giving up picks.
Well, they did that with Melo, man. They gave up. They gave up Moskov. They gave up Wilson Chandler. They gave up my guy, Danilo Gallinari. They gave up draft picks for the next 5 damn years.
Can't do it.
They're good for 2 years in Melo and then right off a cliff.
Yeah, can't
do it.
Jaki, man, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. He says, or Jaki, I hope I pronounced it right, Walker, he says, if you were the Jets and the Jags pass on Lawrence, what trade package, if any, would you be looking for to trade down, and who do you think you would do it? I'm not trading down. I'm taking Trevor Lawrence.
You take Trevor Lawrence.
That's it. There's not a trade pack. If I'm the Jets There's not a trade package in the world that I'm taking. I'm taking Trevor Lawrence if he's there.
And if you're the Jags and you pass on Trevor Lawrence, GM should be fired.
GM should be fired. I'm with you on that. In a dream scenario, your whole draft, all your picks. And that wouldn't even be enough. I would need like 4 first-round picks to start if I'm trading out of that pick.
Yeah.
Clocks, man, thank you very much, man. If Alex Smith could pass a physical today, sign him. Okay, I think you brought it up to me, actually, Clocks, on Twitter. If Alex Smith is willing to come here for a similar contract that Colt McCoy was willing to last year, I don't know if he would be willing to. This is a guy that has a lot of, obviously he's at the end of the road. He's 37 years old, but or maybe he's not that old, but I think he is 37 years old. He's had a lot of success in the league. If he's willing to come here as a strict backup at 37 years old for a really cheap deal, sure. Why not? He's a very smart quarterback. He kind of has a similar skill set to Daniel Jones in terms of his mobility. Maybe he could help Daniel Jones. I'm okay with that. But I don't know if he'd be willing to come here on like a $2 million contract.
Yeah. I mean, like Chris just said, if he's willing to come here on a cheap contract, definitely. I think Alex Smith would have a lot to teach Daniel Jones, and I think Daniel Jones could learn a lot from Alex Smith, Alex Smith won a lot of games without the greatest talent in the world. He was a winner. He was careful with the ball, except when he played us, he turned it over 5 times. But, hey, we've just beat the shit out of Washington every time we play him. No matter who the quarterback is. We own Washington's ass. We own him. I forgot which stream I was in last. I think I was in Roach's stream, and some Washington fans started talking around. They're like, what are you doing? There's one team in the history of football that's beat another team 100 times or more, and that's the Giants beating Washington. You can't talk anything to us because even we've been terrible for 5 years and we still beat the hell out of Washington.
I could be playing quarterback and we'd beat Washington.
You probably would. We missed the 2-point conversion. Well, you did that. Who cares? You can't beat us. You won't beat us.
And Vin, thank you very much, man. Missed this duo, man. Hope both y'all are good. Really appreciate that, Vin.
Yes, sir.
We'll be back at Bad Dogs next week. Don't know the day yet. We'll have to figure that out. But
the All-Star breaks after the 3rd.
Oh, yeah. So it'll be easy. Yes. Link in the description below, though. Go check them out, guys. Thank you very much, Vin. And I'm sure people in the chat could drop it as well. Mark, man, thank you very much, man. We are a year behind again. We take Daniel Jones instead of waiting 1 year for Herbert, and we take Andrew Thomas when we should have waited for Sewell. I like Andrew Thomas, so I think Andrew Thomas is going to be great. Maybe I'll be wrong. I think Andrew Thomas is going to be fantastic. So I'm completely okay with Andrew Thomas. I think he's going to grow into an even better tackle this year. I thought he looked great the last 8 games of the year. I don't know about your thoughts on him. I'm very happy with Andrew Thomas.
Here's my thoughts. We do this with DJ Smoove every week. Mark, we don't know that we're going to be able to get Herbert. We don't know that. You can't plan a year out. You don't know where you're picking, so we don't know that we could have got Herbert. As far as Andrew Thomas goes, yeah, Andrew Thomas struggled at the beginning of the year. That had a lot to do with Mark Colombo. That's why Mark Colombo was fired. That had a lot to do with it. I have no doubt. His mentor, Georgia, came out and said, I don't know what they're doing to Andrew Thomas, but he ain't doing anything he did at Georgia. Things started to change right after that. Colombo was gone, and Thomas picked up his game a lot. He's a rookie left tackle. It's a tough position to play in the NFL. Yeah. We don't know what Sewell's going to be. Sewell could be great. Sewell could stink. Tony Mandridge was supposed to be great coming out of college. Robert Gallery, right? So you just never know. We don't know. And again, we don't know where Sewell's going to go. We don't know where we were picking this year. We really don't know. It's hard to plan a year out because you don't know where you're picking. We can
If nuts, candies, and butts.
Right. And that's the whole thing. You can look at it now and go, yeah, well, we picked 6th and 20, in 22 or whatever. We picked 4th last year, so we would have had Herbert, right? But we don't know that we would have picked 4th.
We wouldn't have been picking 4th.
We don't know.
If we would have taken Josh Allen, he would have had more of an immediate impact than Eli Manning, in my opinion, would have been a better quarterback than Daniel Jones in his rookie year.
You don't know. It's tough. That's the fallacy of the predetermined outcome. You don't know what would have happened, and we don't know what Sewell's going to be. He could be great. He could stink. We'll see. I like Andrew Thomas, though. I was definitely critical of him at the beginning of the year, but that comes of being a fan. When you're a fan, you're critical of performances because you're not in the locker room. You don't know what's going on. You don't know how he's being coached. You don't know all this stuff. And then it comes out and you're like, ooh, well, that's why he struggled. And now look at him. He played way better the second half of the season.
Second half, he looked great. He looked great.
I like Andrew Thomas.
Taco Man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Does Leo resign or FT ? Do we get a number 1 wide receiver?
Franchise
tag. Do we get a number 1 wide receiver and RJ sucks? RJ does not suck. RJ's played really well the last 3 or 4 games. But as far as Leo resign or franchise tag, I think the Giants are going to try to work out a deal before the deadline, March 9th, and I think the Giants have no choice if they can't work out a deal before March 9th to tag him before free agency starts. I think that's their only option. I think Gettleman would be a fool not to slap that tag on him by March 9th. Otherwise, you're going to give teams the option to drive up the price and potentially sign this guy. You tag him and you tell him, listen, we want to work out a long-term deal, but we want to make sure you're with the New York Giants. We have all offseason to negotiate. I think they have to tag him if they're not able to sign an extension before March 9th.
I agree, but I disagree. RJ does not suck.
RJ definitely doesn't suck.
RJ Barrett doesn't suck.
RJ's 20 years old. People forget this. I deal with this in my Knicks streamers all the time.
RJ Barrett has improved miles compared
to let's go over there. I'm glad that you think like me because Taco thinks this way and Mark thinks this way. They both hate RJ Barrett. And I think Roldy's starting to get more warm to him. But he's 20 years old. Let's look at the numbers year to year. Last year, 40% field goal. This year, 43. Last year, 61% free throw. This year, 74. Last year, 31% three-point. This year, 35. Last year, in less minutes, 2.2 turnovers. This year, 1.9. He's improved in every statistical category.
His average per game has improved, hasn't it? He scores more points per game.
He's averaging more points, more rebounds.
How many 20-point games he had this year?
He's had 15, 20-point games this year in like 37 contests. Right. Last year, he had 12 all year.
He's improved. What do you expect him to be? He's not going to be Jordan, but God, he's improved. Like I said, he's 20 years old. This is his second season in the league. You can't give up on Kevin Knox. Stinks. You want a guy that sucks? Kevin Knox sucks. Okay, Kevin Knox sucks. RJ Barrett don't suck, guys. Give RJ Barrett a chance. You know who else sucks? Frank Ntilikina. Can't stand him. Although he shot the ball much better. It's weird seeing him. I forgot he was even part of the team.
Playing good defense.
Yeah, he comes out hitting threes. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Frank Ntilikina? What? He stinks. I don't like Frank. I never liked Frank.
Raphael, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. The Giants merch that you guys are wearing is fire. Well, I appreciate that. That's the lucky hoodie, man. You know that, Raphael.
Yeah, I don't even know what this one is, but yeah, let's go.
And MYG Forever, man. What's going on, man? Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. He says, what's going on, Chris of the Baddog? Everyone says we should get Philly week 1. I want Washington to make a statement. This is our division. I think they're our main competition. What's your thoughts on that?
Washington?
Yeah.
I think Dallas will be there too. But I agree. I think Washington's our main competition. I do.
It's hard for me to answer that though until I know their quarterback.
Yeah, Washington. That's gonna be really interesting to see what they do. It's gonna be interesting to see with all three. Like I said, going into this season, we're the only team that knows who our starting quarterback is. The Eagles can say they're going with Jalen Hurts, but if somebody falls there, if Zach Wilson falls to 6 or Trey Lance. And the Eagles like him. Remember, they drafted Carson Wentz out of the same school that Trey Lance goes to. Maybe they decide Jalen Hurts isn't our guy. Let's take the quarterback. You know, maybe they go Mac Jones. Maybe they go Kyle Trask. Who the hell knows of the Eagles? The Eagles stink. They'll blow it. You know that.
The one thing I'm going to say with MYG Forever, where I really agree with him, I think one thing that everybody's overlooking when they're talking about the Cowboys, and don't get me wrong, I think the Cowboys could definitely have a bounce back season. They had a good second half. They potentially are going to get Dak back if they franchise tag him, which we both think they're going to do. But I think the one thing people are really overlooking is just how good both the Giants and Washington's defense was last year. And it is leaps and bounds better than Dallas's. Like Dallas's might have one of the bottom 5 in the league, and that has to be taken into account. So by that aspect, I agree with him. If they could get average quarterback play, which we don't know if they're going to be able to do, I do think they're our biggest threat because I think Washington's defense is like it's night and day between Dallas's defense. So with that aspect, I agree with him that I do think that the Giants and Washington, no matter what happens with Dallas, are going to be right in the thick of it for their defense alone. So I'm in agreement with him there if Washington has a solid quarterback.
Yeah, and we'll see. I don't know where Washington's going to get a solid quarterback. Like I said, I can see Sam Darnold going there. I just feel like that's the guy that they would take a look at because he's not going to cost anything. What else are they going to do? They're not going to trade all those picks for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're not going to get Dak Prescott. They're not going to trade for Russell Wilson. It's another rumor floating around now. Russell Wilson's going to be traded every year.
That's nonsense. He ain't getting
I know it is, but I'm just saying it. There's nobody out there for them to take.
Did you see the 4 teams that Wilson said he'd go to?
No, I didn't.
He said the Dallas Cowboys. He said the Las Vegas Raiders, the Chicago Bears, and the Saints. I got all of them, but the Bears. I didn't understand that.
the Saints, I heard.
Yeah, I didn't understand the Bears at all. The Saints make sense. Dallas makes sense. They have weapons. I get it. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think it's off-season talk.
I definitely do not want to see Russell Wilson in Dallas.
That's for damn sure. And Mike, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. He says, "What's up, guys? Love your work and go Big Blue." Thank you so much, man.
Mike. Go Big Blue is right, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. It's gonna be fun.
Let's win the draft, baby. Let's go.
It's good. I can't wait till free agency because then we get to figure out how our draft board is looking like. You know what our biggest needs are.
Yes.
8B, man, thank you very much, man. He says New York Giants need to tag and trade Leo, please. If they can't come to an agreement, if they tag him, I agree. You got to get something for him. You don't want the guy holding out and being a distraction to the team. But in an ideal world, what I'm saying, and I think Baddog agrees with me, is please get Leo back on this football team. I think people are discounting how much he meant to this defense last year, Baddog. I just think people think that you could just replace what the guy did. He was very good for the New York Giants.
It's not just last year. It was 2019 as well. I mean, yeah, we were bad, and nobody noticed because he didn't have 11 sacks or whatever he had this year, 11 and a half sacks. But the run defense got so much better when Leonard Williams came on board. You could see a difference in the defensive line in 2019. This team was really bad, and that had a lot to do with Pat Shurmur and the stupid calls. They were just a bad team. They didn't want to win. And they're trying to learn how to win now. You know, we blew a couple games we shouldn't have blown, but he was much better this year, and that defensive line was really good at the end of the year. Patrick Graham, this defense was a top 10 defense. And I don't know where they finished in sacks, but I know they were top 10 for a long time as far as sacks go. He was a big part of it. He's a big part of what they do on defense. Fits Patrick Graham's scheme perfectly. You're like you said, Chris, you're not just going to go out and replace Leonard Williams. People can say, oh, we can sign Dalvin Tomlinson for less. And there's a reason for that because Dalvin Tomlinson isn't as good as Leonard Williams. That's the reason.
And he's more replaceable.
Right.
It's much easier to find an interior nose tackle than to find a guy like Leonard Williams. It's just facts. And I love Dalvin Tomlinson.
So do I.
In the draft, though, it's much easier.
Yes.
Dennis, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. I'm so tired of the Ingram and Pitts comparisons. Evan Ingram was bad in college, but ran a good 40, so his stock rose like rugs. Pitts or Waddle if we sign Sam. I mean, I'm completely fine with either one of those guys, especially if we sign Curtis Samuel. I think Pitts is an even better fit for the New York Giants if you go out and sign Curtis Samuel. I like Samuel. I'm starting to like Samuel more than people are giving him credit for. He's not a number one wide receiver, but he's a guy that's versatile. He's a guy that you can move around. He's more than just strictly a slot receiver, which I think a lot of people paint him to be. And if you were able to bring in Pitts with him, I think it would add a lot to this offense. So
listen, it goes right back to what I said at the beginning of the stream, Dennis. The 40 time is so stupid. The 40 time is so overrated. It does not matter how fast you run if you can't do everything else that it takes to be a good football player. It doesn't matter. There's so many busts that ran in high 40s. Darius Hayward Bay.
Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram. There you go. Darius Hayward Bay. Evan Ingram. Tavon Austin. They're all, those two guys ran 40. John Ross. 4.22 40. He stinks. Right? What did Jerry Rice run in 40? 4.65? Who is it? Jerry Rice any good? How about Tim Brown? Was he a burner? Was he any good? Was Chris Carter a burner? Was Marvin Harrison a burner? Is Larry Fitzgerald a burner? Do any of those guys run a sub 4.40?
Nope.
What do they all have in common? What about Terrell Owens? What about, Randy Moss did. Randy Moss was a freak of nature.
Yeah.
But outside of Moss, I just named like 5 of the 10.
We went over the list, I think, last show or the show before that. We went over every first-round wide receiver. I would say 75% of them were busts. And a lot of them probably were as high as they were because of their 40 times.
He doesn't mean anything. So, yeah, I agree. I'm all aboard the Pitts train, man. I just, like I said, what excites me about Pitts, and again, I hate those comparisons too. People just compare them because they're talking about the Giants drafting a tight end in the first round. That's the only reason there's even a comparison. Evan Ingram is what, 6'2.5", 230? He's like a hybrid. He's like an H-back almost. Pitts is 6'6", 246. I don't care if Pitts runs a 4.68. I don't give a damn what he runs. He's a big target in the red zone. Daniel Jones doesn't have that. He's never had that. Get him a guy that he can throw the fade to. Get him a guy that can box out in the end zone. Give him a big target inside the 10. He needs that. Every quarterback needs that guy. Look at Gronk for frickin' Brady all those years.
Yeah.
Give him that guy.
Well, look at Eli with Burris.
Right.
Nick, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Nick's offered Knox and Nerlens Noel for, I think you mean Andre Drummond. Thoughts?
Cleveland will never do that deal.
Yeah, I would do it. Well, I like Noel. I'm going to be honest. I like Nerlens Noel, but for Andre Drummond, you'd have to do it, Nick. But I don't think that's going to happen.
The Indians, the Cavs would never do that because they're going to get offered more.
Yeah,
right? That knows they could use Drummond to win the championship. So
yeah.
You can't just sit there and go, I'm going to give you my back end of the bench guys. That's like the Lakers saying, hey, we're going to give you – well, they cut Quinn Cook. We're going to give you Devontae Kaycock and Costas Antetokounmpo for Andre Drummond. That don't work like that.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Offer more. And nobody's going to offer anybody. Cleveland's going to have to buy him out. There's going to be a lot of buyouts coming soon.
We'll see. I'm going to get to the next 2 Super Chats, but I want to make sure I don't miss the other ones on my phone, just so you don't Super Chat again. Joey, I got you there. The Phillies Ace, I got you there, but I'm about to lose a couple more, and they're not going to pop up on here. Aiden, man, thank you very much, man. I really appreciate the $2 donation. He says hi. Hi. How you doing there, Aiden, man? And Diehard Giants, man, thank you very much. Generational talents every draft. Shaking my head. It's where value meets need. Last year it was, I know you loved him, but last year it was the linebacker. He was the flavor of the month. This year,
Isaiah
you hear generational talents every draft. So, I'm in agreement with you that just pick the guy that you feel is the best guy for your football team, and
pick your best fit.
Take it from there. Yeah. And Joey, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. I love him, but is Leo worth $20 to $22 million a year? I'll let you start.
Like we said, it's about the years, not the money. If you want to give Leonard Williams 3 years, $66 million, I'm in. 4 years, $80 million, I'm in on that too. I said like 4 years, 78. So 4 years, $80 million, front load his contract, get out after 3. If it's a bad, do it.
I'm a short contract guy. I would much rather overpay per year and be able to get out sooner than later, because football is, especially in a sport like football, you don't know what injuries are going to do to a career. It's a physical sport. You want that cap flexibility. So, in my humble opinion,
all those guys that long-term deals and it screwed us. Gave Jenkins 6 years. Shit Fondue got 6 years. Olivier Vernon got 5 years. I think Snacks only got 4, but he paid a lot of money for those guys.
Yeah, I would sooner overpay per year on a shorter contract than give him a 5-year contract for market value. John, man, thank you so much, man. Stella, Bad Dog, and Stand Up, the Entertainer. The Giants stink, and no matter how my Eagles may look, we will moonwalk the Giants next season. Beware. We'll see, John. Looking forward to it.
Giants have a little bit of added motivation against Philadelphia.
Oh, we're breaking out the brooms this year, Bad Dog.
Yeah, I feel like the Giants are going to break the wings off of those dirty pigeons this year.
We're clipping wings this year.
We still love you, Johnny, but your team's going down. You're going to fly right into a giant building, crash and burn.
JC, man, thank you very much. RJ is a two-way player that's rare. Never understood the love for OFF.
There's no defense. For offense.
Offense. Players. Okay, I didn't read the rest of it. Players with no defense. Always hated players like Harden. Fool's gold. Play D or get out. I agree with you, JC. I think defense is very much underrated by a lot of people that are severely critical of RJ Barrett. You saw the way that he locked down Kawhi Leonard. He's a versatile player. I agree with you. I think he's a very good defender, especially for a player as young as he is. And I think he's going to grow to be a very good player.
James Harden is rich man's Carmelo Anthony. That's what he is. Yeah. And Carmelo Anthony never won anything. And James Harden won't win anything in Brooklyn either. I always love when I get Brooklyn fans coming in. I don't know why Brooklyn fans are coming in. Lakers streamers would like to come in here and tell me that that's New York's team. And I don't know how many times I got to tell you. I don't give a damn how long Brooklyn's here. I don't give a damn how many championships Brooklyn wins. If they win any, I don't care. They'll always be New Jersey. Knicks will always be New York's team. Always.
Oh, yeah. And all of a sudden there's Nets fans, and they'll go away in 2 years.
They'll go away when the Knicks whoop their ass. Let's go!
Down the
Knicks-Nets playoff series.
That'd be fun. Take down the Elite says Vincent Jackson, former Bucks player, died at the age of 38 on 2/15/21. Oh, we're getting a conspiracy theory here. After the Bucks won it all on the 38th day of the year. 2 + 15 + 21 = 38. Murder by numbers. Those number conspiracies, Bad Dogs, I always laugh at because you could make anything out of numbers to paint a picture. I always laugh at those. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie 23 with Jim Carrey. It was about that. It was about numbers adding up to these crazy things, right. and then it basically turned out that you could take the number 23 and make it into anything. So I always laugh at those number conspiracies.
Yeah, I mean Evan Ingram was drafted in 2017. He had up 2, 0, 1, and 7. That adds up to 10. He had 10 drops this year.
You just solved it. You
right?
solved it.
I don't even know if that's true, but it's close.
You solved the problem.
Like Rocky, in Rocky 2, he goes and buys his house. And he says to Adrian, he goes, "Oh, these numbers almost add up to 9. That's a good omen there." And they do add up to 9, which is what's hilarious about it. It's like 2, 3, 1. This is so stupid that I remember the freaking numbers on Rocky. It's 2, 3, 1, 3 is his address. He goes, "Those numbers almost add up to 9, Adrian. That's a good omen. You know that they do add up to 9, Rocky." But yeah, so there you go. Maybe it started with Rocky 2.
Yeah, maybe. Camera Dad, man.
$16,000. I'm like, can I buy a house for $16,000? What the hell? $16,000 for a house. You can't even buy it. You can't even get an apartment for $16,000. Car for $16,000 more.
Camera Dad, man, thank you very much. He says, I hope we grab Gilmore. Love from Scotland. That's the second person that brought up Gilmore today. I don't know. I think that's pie in the sky stuff, but maybe that happens. Maybe the Patriots do trade him to us. We'll see. It would be a nice get. That's exactly what we need. We need a second corner.
Again, doing Lakers stuff, I follow Lakers Nation. This guy's a senior writer for LakersNation.com, whatever. He's ensconced with the Lakers stuff. And he did mention something about how there was talk about Mo Bamba going to Lakers. And that's, again, pie in the sky. And what he said was a guy on Twitter just was just shooting him out there, just talking about possibilities or what's the word I'm looking for there when you just kind of – you're just throwing something out there in the air, hoping it sticks, or you just
clickbait almost.
Yeah, whatever it is. I don't know the word I'm trying to find. My brain's not working right now, but you just throw it out there. It has no relevance, and nobody ever said it. It doesn't come from a source, but you just stick it on Twitter. Then all of a sudden, a couple of people follow it, and they talk about it, they share it, and then all of a sudden, it becomes a rumor. Although it's not even possible. I think that could be the thing with Stephon Gilmore is that it's just. You heard it in a couple places, and now it just starts getting.
And you liked what you heard, and you want to believe
people
it could happen.
It up, and now they want that to happen. I can't see Gilmore coming here. What are the Giants going to trade? We don't have many draft picks. You don't want to give away draft capital for an older cornerback. To me, it's just not a good move for the Giants.
Yeah. And Mr. Pie, man, thank you so much, man. Stand up, new member. Welcome to the channel, my man. Really appreciate it. Andrew Thomas, what's going on, 18? We were just talking about you a little while ago. He says, if the Knicks make the playoffs, are you guys going to do a play-by-play? Well, he does the Lakers. Yeah. So I'll be doing the Knicks.
You can't.
And and everybody always asks me to do it. Like, am I going to do it with Baddog when we play the Lakers? Yeah, I mean, you can't. It's very hard. Like, I would be doing the scoreboard and Baddog would be doing the play-by-play or vice versa. You step on each other's toes. Yeah, because when you're calling the game, and you can't watch it. It's like the Raiders. You have to talk about where everything's going, and you never stop talking ever. Yeah. And they're trying to talk to their chat too. So there's no one for an analyst. I get the same thing in the Lakers games. They're like, "Yo, when the Lakers play the Knicks, you're going to stream with Chris." I'm like, I can't. Football's perfect. Football, there's stoppage time.
Chris does the play-by-play. The play's over, and then I go into analyzing what happened or talk about what happened, and then we still have like 15 seconds to say, "Oh, they're setting up over here. They're doing this. They're doing that." It flows really well. Baseball, you can do the same thing. Basketball is too fast-paced.
There's no stoppage. You can't. There isn't. It's very hard to do it with two people.
Yeah, you can't have chemistry with the basketball. Basketball's tough.
Yeah, and we just read that actually. Yeah, and Grim, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it, and I just want to make sure I didn't skip anybody. I don't think I did, but I hate doing that if I did. Let me just make sure. No, I didn't. Grim, man, thank you very much, man. Curtis Samuel and Shepard can play outside, but they thrive in the slot. Forcing one to play outside means playing them out of their best spot, redundant like Tate and Shepard, and don't fit Garrett's offense. That's fair. Maybe you want to sign Corey Davis instead. I don't know. We'll see what the New York Giants decide to do in free agency. I've seen Washington linked to Samuel. Obviously, I think the reasoning why Samuel's linked to the Giants is Gettleman drafted him. Yep. And we've seen in the past that Gettleman has liked to bring in guys that he's drafted. All you got to do is look at James Bradbury last year. So
did Rivera coach him?
Yes, Rivera did coach him. That's probably why they're there.
Washington, yeah.
And they need a number 2. They have their one with McLaurin. They need a number 2. So I think Samuel might be a better fit there. We'll see what the Giants decide to do. Davis fits the scheme, but he's very hit or miss. Davis had 4 games, I think, last year where he had 0 yards receiving, and he had 5 where he had over 100.
So he's Ruben Randall.
Yeah, pretty much. He's very hit or miss.
Don't need him again.
And Neil, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Noel had key steals against the Pacers. Barrett had key steals versus the Pacers. Buckets, too. Julius Randle continues to deliver.
Julius Randle's been unbelievable this year. I can't even believe it was a question that he might not make the All-Star team. 23, 11, and 6. The guy's been a beast. The guy's a beast. When the Knicks signed him last year, I'm like, that's a good signing, man. That was an underrated signing. Now, he struggled last year, but I think that had a lot to do with coaching. You get the right coach in there, you get the right scheme in there, you figure out your players' strengths and weaknesses, and you build a game plan around the strengths. And, oh, my God, the Knicks won 18 games. We haven't hit the break yet. The Knicks don't win 18 games in a year some years.
Well, Thibodeau's always had great success with the power forward position, too. You look at Taj Gibson when he was with the Bulls, he played great. And also
he's playing with the Knicks now.
He's playing pretty well. And Carlos Boozer, too, played great with Thibodeau with the Bulls. Noah as well, kind of like a power forward.
The Knicks have good role players on top of good starters. They do. I mean, and some of them the Knicks can get really hot. Like Alec Burks the other night. I had him in what you would call it, in DraftKings. He got me all the way up into the top 10. That was the most I won in anything. I think I won $40. And I don't play really high. I play $3 tournaments. I ended up winning like $40 because Alec Burks went off in the fourth quarter. He was ready.
He had 5 threes. He had 5 threes in the fourth.
Right. What game was that where they won like 140?
2 games ago. 2 games. It was against the Kings, yeah.
It was against Kings. Okay, yeah. So I was like, yeah, keep hitting, baby. But that's what they do. They and then Quickly, same thing. Quickly's been hot. Quickly's like starts. Quickly can hit 8 threes in a row and then he can not hit 3 for 4 games. A lot like John Starks. Reminds me a lot of – doesn't have quite the defensive prowess of John Starks, and he's a better free throw shooter. Dude, it's nice to see a guy make his free throws.
It's 94%.
It's crazy. 94%. What do you have, 70 in a row before he missed one?
I know he shot 100 and he's hit 94, so he's been incredible.
Yeah.
John, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. He says, Beto, you better hope my Phillies don't get their pitching because Girardi is going to avenge the 09 loss and the Mets stink, but I can't rule them out.
Johnny, love you, buddy. I'm ready. Listen, Yankees versus the Mets, I'm in. Yankees versus the Phillies, I'm in. Yankees versus the Dodgers, I'm in. Yankees versus anybody, sign me up right now. Sign me up right now.
I can't wait for baseball season. And Jeremy says, been a Mets fan since 06. Can't wait for Lindor. Don't even get me started on Lindor. I think he's going to be fantastic with the Mets. So I can't wait for baseball season.
Great already, striking out on 3 pitches. He sucks.
Who?
Gary Sanchez. I'm ready to squeak him.
I saw that he was trending on Twitter today. That's probably why.
That's trash. The guy sucks. Why do they keep him there? I just want to punch him. He has a punchable face on top of everything else.
Jay, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Tane and Baddog, stand up. Doesn't get any better than this. Brilly, baby. Jay, what's going on, my man? Thanks for popping in the stream. And we're going to be on Baddog stream next week. So going over there, check them out. Link in the description below. I'm sure people could put it in the chat as well. But thank you once again. I want to say thank you once again to everybody for continuing to support the channel. We're going to get to the chat. I'm going to try to get to as many of your guys' questions as we can. Obviously, it's kind of slow right now. There's not a ton to talk about. We can answer some free agency questions, draft questions. We're going to be doing this for another hour, so I'll try to hang out with the chat and we'll try to answer some of your questions that kind of piggyback off of what you guys want to ask. Let's dive a little bit deeper, though, because we didn't really get a chance to talk about that. We were starting to, and then we had to answer a couple of questions. Nate Solder, what's your opinion on the situation with Nate Solder? Obviously, we all thought for sure he was going to be either retired or cut. The New York Giants have now come out and said that they would entertain potentially trying to restructure his contract under the right circumstances, because we're taking I want to say about, what is it? It's a lot. Whatever the cap hit is, it's a lot. It's like a $10 million dead cap, whatever it may be. Under the right circumstances, do you entertain bringing Solder back if they're able to get that contract down to a low number?
I mean, I would entertain it because, again, the Giants could definitely use an upgrade at tackle. Cam Fleming was a disaster last year. We don't know what Matt Parrott's going to be. Parrott also struggled last year. But, again, it's a young offensive line. I think that and again, this doesn't help matters because they're all tackles, but there's a possibility if they bring Solder back that Zeitler is going to be a casualty of the cap and he's going to get released. If you want to do that, if you want to restructure Solder, then I think you'd have to release Zeitler. I don't think you could keep them both. And I think that the Giants would have to draft a guy like Creed Humphrey maybe at center and move Nick Gates back to right guard. I don't really know what the deal is. But again, I don't think you can keep Zeitler and Solder. I think you have to let one of them walk, but I don't think that you can let them both go either because I think you need that veteran presence on that young offensive line. I could definitely see Solder coming back under the right circumstances and plugging him in at right tackle. I don't want to mess with Andrew Thomas.
No.
He's going to tackle the future. You drafted him to play left tackle. You drafted him to play left tackle, hopefully for the next 15 years, and protect Daniel Jones for the next 15 years. That's the ideal situation. So, yes, if you can restructure Solder's deal and not take as much, and it helps out your cap, you might have to get rid of Zeitler, but I think that may actually be better for the New York Giants because I think that Nate Solder had a – listen. He was a turnstile, and I ripped him a new ass, and he deserved it, okay? But again, they got a lot of personal things going on. The guy's had a year off now. The guy's going to come into a much better coaching situation. These guys obviously are great coaches. Nate Solder's a veteran. I think Nate Solder could be very good and very valuable on the right side of that line. A big upgrade over Cam Fleming, and he can help out. He can help out these young guys. So, yes, under the right circumstances, I think that wouldn't be a bad move for the New York Giants.
It's got to be the right circumstance, though. And the other thing is, the other thing you got to question, one, is he in football shape? If he's not, they'll know. They'll know. He's had a year off. But two, is he okay with moving to the right side? And is he comfortable moving to the right side? He hasn't played on the right side since his rookie year in the NFL. Because, like you said, I ain't moving Andrew Thomas.
I'm moving Thomas. But
if I could get Solder down to a very cost-effective contract, obviously within reason, he's not coming back for $5 million a year.
No.
But a much cheaper contract than they have now, if you're able to restructure it, I think it could make sense. Because the other thing I'm going to say, and I kind of said in my video, if you don't bring back Solder, you're going to have to bring in another tackle anyway. There's no way you could go into next year fully confident that without any veteran presence that you could just throw Matt Pat in there and he's going to be great. There's no way. So I do think no matter if Barrett's going to be the guy, which I'm completely fine with, if they believe that, I think you need to have a solid backup tackle. So you're going to have to use some of that money to sign a guy like Cam Fleming last year. $6 million on a swing tackle. So if it makes sense financially, and it has to make sense financially, and everything works, I'm okay with it.
Yep.
I'm not going to say I'm going to be doing backflips, but I'm okay with it. He's a captain. He's a guy that's widely respected in the locker room, a guy with ties to Judge. It's got to be the right circumstance, but I'm okay with it if it is.
I agree.
Yeah. And Joseph Clark, man, thank you very much, man. Re-sign Leo and Dalvin Tomlinson. Go balls to the walls on O in the draft. So he says, keep the defense intact and then go heavy offense in free agency and then go heavy offense in the draft.
Yeah, I'm all about the offense in the draft. Like I said, I want Daniel Jones to have the optimal situation to succeed. And if he doesn't, then he's not the guy. If he does, then it was the fact that he didn't have any pieces around him, which is why he didn't succeed. And again, same thing with Jason Garrett. Give Jason Garrett the pieces to succeed too. And if they don't, and then you can say, well, Jason Garrett, Dr. Garrett, you can leave the hospital, sir.
Yeah.
So, take you out in an ambulance. You're done.
And we got another question here. Ross Kaplan says, who are your wide receiver targets in round 2 if no wide receivers are at 11? First, I think there will be a wide receiver at 11.
Yes, definitely.
I got a couple of guys that I'm interested in. I'm curious to see any wide receivers in particular in the second round range.
I'll be honest, I haven't really had time to get into the draft. I really haven't gotten past the first round yet. So
yeah. I'm with you. It's kind of I'm the same way. Like everybody's so draft heavy. And everybody's talking draft right now. I got to see what the rest of the team looks like before we get to the draft, before I'm really into it. But a couple of guys, Terrace Marshall, he's tall out of LSU.
Yeah,
he's a guy. Yeah, he's 6'3" or 4". He's a guy I've talked about. Kadarius Toney, he had a really good senior
Florida.
Yep. Out of Florida. And
hey, you can go Pitts and Toney. I wouldn't be mad at it.
Yeah.
Get Gators on the team. Grab some Gators.
Another guy I really like is Rondell Moore, who's a versatile player. He's not a tall guy. But he's a gadget player. He's had injury concerns in the past. But if he's healthy, he might be the most explosive wide receiver in this draft. So
who the hell is the guy? I know the chat will know this. Who's the guy in Clemson that was supposed to be really good, and he busted his knee up or something this year, going and missed the whole season? Who the hell is that guy?
I'm trying to think.
Another really, really good receiver outside of Jamar Chase, and I can never remember the guy's name. I never remember his name.
Wait, is it Rogers? Amari Rogers?
Justin Ross. Justin Ross.
Justin Ross. Okay.
Yes, Justin Ross. I don't know if he's coming out in the draft or not either, but maybe you pick him up late. I forgot what year he is or what year he was. So I don't know if Ross is going to be there. Maybe Ross goes back. I think he's a junior. I think he was a junior. I thought this was his junior year. I could be wrong, but I don't think someone said Bateman. I don't think Bateman's making it to the second round.
Probably not. No, not especially after what
everybody's. Okay, well, there you go. He's going to play another year, so you can scratch him. But
and Peter, man, thank you very much, man. Tannenbaum called Jones clearly ahead of Darnold. Judge and Graham did an amazing job, and the defense looks really good. Why do you think we haven't seen a single free agent show interest in the Giants? Well, first off, we don't know who's shown interest. We haven't really heard rumors at all with any of these wide receivers of who they're potentially interested in. But they aren't, in my opinion, Pete, they're not going to have a choice. I think these guys are going to be tagged. I think the top wide receivers are going to be franchise tagged. I don't think they're going to have a choice to say this is where I want to go, in my opinion. And as far as Jones goes, if I'm being honest, completely honest, and I think Jones could be good this year if we get the right pieces in place. I think he definitely could. Not saying he will, but I think he could. He's not proven yet. So if I'm one of these top tier wide receivers and I have a choice and I could go to a really good quarterback that's proven already, that's where I'm leaning. But I don't think these I think they're gonna be tagged. I think Allen Robinson is gonna be tagged, and I think Kenny Golladay is gonna be tagged. And then I think they eventually may be traded, but I don't think they're gonna have a choice to which team they want to go to.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about Golladay saying he didn't want to go. I know that there was talk about Allen Robinson. They only want to go to the article was he doesn't want to go to the Giants because he didn't say he didn't want to go to the Giants, but he said he wants to go to a team that's ready to win.
Ready to win.
The Giants aren't ready to win.
Which is completely understandable if you're a player from the outside.
That's why they're saying that he's saying he's already not interested in the Giants. So they didn't come out and say, I don't want to go there. Listen, they're going to go where the damn money is.
I completely agree with you on that. If for some reason these teams let them hit the open market, which I'm going to continue to say, I don't think it's going to happen with those two players in particular. I think they'll be tagged and potentially traded. They're going to go to the highest bidder. That's the way it works generally. They're going to go to the highest bidder. That's usually how it works. And Max, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Tane and Baddog, what's up, fellas? What's going on, Max? Man, thanks for popping in. Max is the man. Ash Money, what's up, man? If the Giants would take Kwity Paye or Gregory Rousseau at 11, I would scream. Yeah, I'm going to tell you what. If we don't bring back Leonard Williams, for everybody saying I don't want Leonard Williams back, if they don't bring Leo back, it's more likely we're going to draft one of those two guys. I'll tell you that. Yeah. It opens up the possibility if we don't bring Leo back. I'll tell you that.
I'd rather have Paye than Rousseau, but I don't. Giants can't go with a project. Giants don't have that ability to go with projects. I can't see them. I can't see the Giants going there. I can't. I think they're going to go offense. I think they have to go offense.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. And I agree with you. I think I'm leaning that they're going to go offense. Grim, man, thank you very much, man. Linval Joseph, Hankins, Tomlinson, nose tackles are replaceable. Well, that's my thoughts on it as well.
I'll tell you what, though, man. Linval Joseph ended up being a really damn good player. That's a guy that they should not have let go. Linval Joseph was really good. And I loved Jonathan Hankins. I loved Hankins. I thought Hankins was a beast.
He didn't even say Snacks Harrison, by the way.
No? Well, Snacks was at the end of his career. That was But I loved Hankins out of Ohio State. I liked him a lot. But I understood he got paid a lot of money, so the Giants couldn't afford him.
Yeah, but it is easier to replace one of those players. I'm in complete agreement than replacing a guy like Leonard Williams. Isar, man, thank you very much. Says, looking back at my reaction when OBJ got traded, worst day of my life, I almost started crying.
I knew he was getting traded.
I'm going to tell you what. It worked out. You may not want to hear that. People in the chat may not want to hear that are Odell Beckham fans. It worked out. So, and maybe you were upset then, but if you're a Giants fan now, you should look at it and say, well, I'm glad they did what they did because I think it worked out. We're a better team because of it.
I said in 2018, I said they should trade his ass to the Cleveland Browns. That's where he went. Yeah. After they traded Olivier Vernon, I came right out in that video. So it's on a page. I said when they talk, there's something I said about Olivier Vernon got traded. I'm sitting on my couch doing a lunchtime video. I say, don't be surprised if Odell Beckham's next. 2 days later, Odell Beckham was out. I knew that was coming.
I know Authentic loves OBJ, so I saw Authentic in the chat. Go over there, check Authentic out. He says our offense stinks, but our offense wouldn't be good with him. He's been hurt. He's been banged up. And you got what you could for him. You got Jabril Peppers. No matter what you want to say about the offense, Jabril Peppers has been a better football player since we acquired him, leaving the draft picks out of it, than Odell Beckham has. Just for the simple fact he's been on the field. So we won the trade. I mean, whether you want to say the offense stunk because of it, we won the trade.
How good was our offense when he was here?
It was bad.
Yeah, that's my point. I mean, how good was the offense when he was here? How good was it in 2016? How good was 17? It was hurt. But how good was it in 2018? I mean, it wasn't good. It was good in 2015. It was very good in 2015. Our defense stunk.
Yeah.
You know?
And what's going on there, Hot Nickels, man? Thanks for popping in the stream. Ash Money. What'd you say, Bad Dog?
Hot Nicks.
Ash Money says, Michigan players in the first round just aren't that good to me. Jabril entered his prime with us, and Devin Bush has injury history. Other than that, I'd have to think about first-round Michigan players off the top of my head. I mean, obviously, Brady wasn't a first-round player, but he was pretty damn good out of Michigan.
Did he go to Michigan?
Who?
Tyrone Wheatley went. Tyrone Wheatley was ours, but I
think he did.
I can't remember. Now, Ron Dane went to Wisconsin. That I know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of Michigan first-round Michigan guys.
Yeah, he was a first-round guy.
Yeah, I know he was, Wheatley. We took he wasn't first round, but we took Mario Manningham. I think he went to Michigan. He was a third-round pick.
He was.
I can't think of first-round Michigan. Well, didn't Woodson go to Michigan?
God.
If I'm not mistaken, Charles Woodson?
Desmond Howard. Howard went to Michigan. He sucked.
Yeah. Maybe I'm mixing it up. I don't know.
Did Amani Toomer go to Michigan?
I think he did, yeah. Rashawn Gary's actually played pretty well. He was a first-round pick for Michigan. He's played pretty well for the Packers.
I don't know. I can't think of all the guys. I don't really watch a lot of Michigan football, so it's hard to say. Butch Woolfolk, yeah. That was a little before my time. Butch Woolfolk was there right before they got Joe Morris. Joe Morris was the guy. Joe Morris and Rob Carpenter are the guys I remember when I first started watching the Giants.
Yeah, so Rod Woodson did go to Michigan. They said in the chat he was pretty good. He was pretty good. Or Charles Woodson, I should say. He was pretty good. He won the Heisman Trophy, and he was good. JJ says, so do y'all want Pitts or Waddle? I think Bad Dog wants Pitts.
Pitts.
I'm leaning Waddle, but I'm not going to be upset with either one. I think either one of them would help this offense dramatically. But I'm in love with Waddle. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. We'll see. I was very impressed with him when I started to dive into some of his highlights in film. Isar says, blank F weak arm Mayfield, OBJ deserves better. Do you guys think if we still had OBJ, he would help Daniel Jones' career and development as our star wide receiver?
First of all, Baker Mayfield has a much stronger arm than Daniel Jones. That's not close. Secondly, Baker Mayfield has nothing to do with Odell Beckham getting hurt.
Yeah.
I don't know how Odell Beckham would have made Daniel Jones. I don't know. It would have been interesting to see.
It's hypotheticals, and we'll never know. But I think part of the reason why the Giants trade him, and I don't want to talk about Odell because then we get all the people that love Odell and think he can't do anything wrong.
We're talking about him. He hasn't been here in 3 years.
And they get upset about it. I don't want to get into the Odell talk because I know there's a wide portion of the Giants fan base who just doesn't like to talk negative about Odell. I think a big reason why they got rid of him was because they were scared he was going to do the same thing to the quarterback that guys like Tiki Barber and Jeremy Shockey did to Eli Manning early in his career. I think that's a major reason why they traded him. So
now the 2018 offense is good. It was Eli's fault.
And Ash Money, man, thank you very much, man. Our 2018, I just read it. Our 2018 offense was good. Go back and look. Eli held us back that year, and you can't deny that. Imagine DJ in that 2018 offense.
Yeah, I can imagine him in that offense. We're looking at it now. No offensive line. I'm getting his ass kicked and fumbling the damn ball. Difference is Eli Manning got down on the ground, took the sack. Daniel Jones doesn't know how to do that yet, so he turns it over.
Yeah, he's got bottom line is Odell's gone. He's never coming back, and if he does, he's not going to be the same player.
I don't get the obsession with Odell Beckham. I don't.
It's time to move on, guys. It's time to move on. It's been 3 years.
I just don't understand. I don't get it. Lawrence Taylor, okay. I get that. Monty Toomer, okay. Whatever. I don't get the Burris thing.
Mark,
we didn't anything with Burris here. We won nothing. We had a big time losing record with him here. We had one winning season when he was here.
Mark's not a believer in Andrew Thomas. I get it. He says, Chris, what film have you watched that makes you think Andrew Thomas will be phenomenal? I saw Andrew Thomas in the second half go up against some of the best pass rushers in the sport. Did a really good job against Chase Young in both matchups. Did a really good job against Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett didn't touch the quarterback until the last play of the game. But yeah, he owned him. I saw him go up against some of the best edge rushers in the sport. I saw from the second half, and he held his own.
That was the only thing that we could take out of that Cleveland game. Was what
Andrew Thomas owned Myles Garrett in that game to the point where the Andrew Thomas detractors came out and said, "Oh, Myles Garrett was sick.
He just get over COVID.
He wasn't feeling that good. He was sick." Yeah. Andrew Thomas played much better in the second half. There's no denying it.
He did.
And Esau, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. He says, Eric Flowers will save us and come back. Oh, no.
That's probably the worst draft pick I've seen. That or Apple, they were back-to-back. You wonder why we still can't win games. That's what happens when you draft Eric Flowers 9th overall, and then the next year you come back and you draft Eli Apple 10th. And then you draft Evan Ingram in 2017. This is what happens.
And Simon, man, thank you very much. Is once we get a stud wide receiver one, everyone will forget. I agree with you.
I don't agree. I don't agree, Simon.
I do. I think if we draft,
people will never get over.
You know what it is, Bad Dog? I think there's a lot of people that became Giants fans because of Odell.
That's very possible.
And they're almost more Odell fans in a way than Giants fans. Listen, I'm not saying everyone that loves him is like that, but a lot of them.
Odell Beckham was the most talented receiver this franchise has ever had. He was an exciting player. He was fun to watch. You always wanted him to have the ball. You wanted to see what he did with the ball. I loved Odell Beckham when he was here. I wanted Odell Beckham to have the ball every time. Eli, just throw the damn ball to Beckham. Just throw it to Beckham. Just throw it to Beckham every damn time. The hell with everybody else. I want to see what Beckham can do. I get it. But it's about this, man. It ain't about the name on the back. It's about this. It's about this. It's about Big Blue. We didn't win with him here. We're moving in the right direction without him here. Got to let it go. I think once, not the number one receiver, Chris. I think when the Giants have a year where they're 11-5, 12-4, and they make a deep run in the playoffs, then people will stop talking about it.
As long as our number one wide receiver doesn't go on a boat trip,
right?
You know,
so that doesn't happen. Or go out in the field when it's -8 with the shirt off, like
Easy, thank you so much for the $3 super sticker. Appreciate it. Mwah. There you go. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And I'm completely with you though, man. To me, it's about the. Listen, I'm the biggest Eli Manning fan in the world. I love you. Well, second to Cop Hizzle. But I love Eli Manning to death. Listen, at the end of the day, I was behind it when they decided to move on. The guy was getting up there in age, and he never fit the timeline of the team. You never put a player above the team. Period. End of story. And it's time to move on. It's time to move on. And Joe, thank you so much for the $1 donation. It says the message was retracted.
I didn't even know you could put a message when you.
I don't think you can.
That's really strange. Asia, what's going on? Malaysia's Bad Dog, you loon. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think you can, man. That's weird. Let's see. Marley Moll says, never heard any one of the Giants players complain about OBJ. Just saying, it was mostly the media. That may be the case. Listen, at the end of the day, I do think the media had something to do with Marlon Morrow. I'll agree with that. But I also think if you're being fair, whether it's fair or not, Odell Beckham, I think, craved the media attention. I think in certain instances, he went out of his way to stay in the spotlight. And he knew the media was going to take it and run with it in certain instances.
And the media knew that they could get him to say things.
Yeah, let's put it that way. And when you're in New York, that's not the right approach. You don't want that.
Well, let's just say the better off you are in New York.
Yeah. And Swaggertron, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. He says, anytime someone sees the catch, they're going to remember OBJ.
And you know what I remember? We lost. That's what I remember. We lost. We blew it. We blew a big lead against Dallas. That's what I remember about that game. I remember the catch. Awesome. I remember we lost the game.
Yeah.
That's what I remember about it.
I'm with you on that. And if you guys haven't done so, I saw 217 likes. Hit that like. Let's get it to 300. Subscribe. Ring the bell. More importantly, we're going to be live on Bad Dogs next week. Go into the description. I'm sure one of my mods could post his channel. We'll be over there. We'll be doing the same show over there. It's going to be a little bit more relevant. Maybe we'll start to hear some rumors leaked. And then the following week, that'll be right around free agency. So it's going to be a lot of fun coming up.
In a couple weeks.
Yeah, as things are going to start to pick up. So I'm looking forward to it. And thank you to everybody for being here. I really appreciate it, man. What's up there, Viz Dad? It's man. Thanks for popping in the stream, man. Odell done nothing since he left. End of story, Alvin says. I'm with you on that.
I don't care if he did. He's not here anymore.
He's not a Giant.
It's been 3 years. If it was last year, okay, but God, he's gone.
Yeah. And King Gizzy Gobbler, man, thanks for popping in the stream. And Fred Falcon says, Flowers were so bad, I'm scared to draft Miami players again.
Yeah, let's stay away from Rousseau then.
He was bad, there's no doubt about it, but I'm never going to get scared off from a college just because of one draft pick. But no, Big Daddy. I'm talking back and forth to Baddog. You're not blocked. You're good. I see you. What's going on, Big Daddy, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, my man. Neil says All-Star game you do. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I might do the slam dunk contest, which is at halftime. Maybe I'll do the first half leading up to the slam dunk contest because Toppin's in it. But I really don't have much interest in the All-Star game. I just don't. Baseball All-Star game is the best one to me, and even that I don't have a ton of interest in.
Yeah, I am. I told Chris I need the All-Star break like the Lakers do. I need those nights off. It is a grind to get It's tough to get 4 hours of sleep every night. That's rough. Lakers play 4 nights a week. Sunday night games, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, those are difficult. Friday night, Saturday night games, I'm like, yes, I can sleep. But I could use that, man. So it's a grind. You get up at 5:30 in the morning, you go work a full day for 8 hours, you come home, you make dinner, you go to the gym, you try to stay your ass in shape, you hang out with your 4-year-old. 4-year-olds are tough. Anybody have a 4-year-old out there, they know that they crave a lot of attention. And they know what they want now. It's not like he's just crying to cry. This kid knows what he wants. And then you come down here and you stream for 3 hours. You go to sleep at 1:30, you get up at 5:30, you do it again the next day. It wears on you after a while, especially when you're 45 years old. It wears on you. So
yeah,
it's a gruel. It's gruel.
Gavin says if not for a big wide receiver free agency, what are we looking at? Well, I think you're looking at the mid-tier wide receivers if you're going to address it in free agency. It's the same names we go over: Curtis Samuel, Davis. And if not for that, cheaper options like Tyrell Williams, or you don't address it at all, and you try to shore up your defense and you attack wide receiver early and often of this year's draft.
Yep,
I think that's what you're looking at. Let's see, Pete, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Thoughts on pursuing Alex Smith as a backup to DJ? Yeah, Pete, we actually talked about that at the top of the show. If he's willing to come here, which he may be, he's 37 years old on a cheap deal, similar to like Colt McCoy did last year. I'm not giving him $6 million to be a backup. I'd rather get someone younger. He clearly showed, in my opinion, last year that he's not near the same quarterback that he was. I'd rather get somebody like Jacoby Brissett if I'm going to be spending $6-7 million. But if I get him for $2.5 million, I think he's a perfect fit. He's a great mentor. He's very smart. He did a great job for Pat Mahomes, showing him the ropes. And he does have, at least when he was in his prime, in terms of mobility, a similar skill set to that of Daniel Jones. So I think it could be a nice fit as a backup. He's not going to be a guy that starts, but I think he could be a nice fit as a backup.
Yeah, I agree.
Mark says, do we draft a left guard early? Hernandez is bad. See, and maybe I'll be proven wrong next year. I'm not saying Hernandez is good. He's definitely not. He has not lived up to the second round selection. I thought Hernandez was better than Lemieux last year. I really did. I'm not a film guy. I don't do film breakdowns. Just from watching the games, Lemieux was horrible in pass protection. Awful.
I forgot what game it was. He got freaking beat clean a number of times. You don't want to get beat clean inside. That's really bad. That's what gets your quarterback murdered.
To put it in perspective, Lemieux surrendered more sacks in half a season's worth of reps than Will Hernandez surrendered since he's been in the NFL.
Will Hernandez, to me, just regressed a little bit, but I don't think he's bad. Obviously, he dealt with the COVID thing this year, too. So, I don't know. We'll see. Will Hernandez is a third-year player? I don't know if we can give up on Will Hernandez yet.
I'm completely for drafting a guard, though, by the way. Relatively early in the draft. I'm completely for that because you don't know what you have in Lemieux. You don't know if Zeitler's going to be here long-term, and you don't know what you have in Hernandez yet.
I've said this before. I'm in for drafting Creed Humphrey from Oklahoma. Love the kid. You put him at center, you move Nick Gates back to guard. I'm fine with that. Nick Gates is a good right guard.
Yeah.
So I'd be fine with that.
Now I want to bring this thought up to you about that, and I like Creed Humphreys. He's thought to be one of the better centers in this draft. Max Webster actually brought this up to me in my member stream. I thought it was a good point. We talk about continuity with the offensive line. We talk about not wanting to shift players. You put Nick Gates in at that center spot last year. He played pretty well, and it's not just for Gates; it's for the offensive linemen around him, along with the quarterback. Obviously, the center to quarterback exchange, that's something Daniel Jones has now become familiar with. I think that's an underrated aspect of an offensive line and a quarterback, being familiar with the way the guy snaps the ball to you. If you were to move him, Jones will have to, go through that all over again. So it may not be in the best interest to move Nick Gates now that he's kind of gotten situated at that center spot.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a good point. There's no doubt about that. But again, if they feel like Nick Gates is going to be their center of the future, then it's a different story. But if not, I mean,
if you feel Creed Humphreys could be an elite center, that's not going to stop.
Yeah, and again, I think Creed Humphrey will be there. He might be there in the third round. I doubt it. I think he'll go in the second at some point. But I think he's better than the centers that came out last year. I think he's better than Biadish. Who's the guy that went to the Saints? I can't even remember his name now.
Oh wow, I loved him too.
I cannot remember his damn name.
He's a Jersey native too. What the hell was his name?
This is what happens when you have all those mock drafts. All the players, and then the year goes by and you just totally forget his
Ruiz.
Yes,
Ruiz. Yeah. Ruiz.
That's both of them. To be honest with you, so. Yeah. I'd be all in for Creed. I mean, I've loved Creed Humphrey since he was a freshman in Oklahoma. So it's, I wanted Creed Humphrey since he was a freshman. The guy was the best center in the country as a freshman, pretty much. So, and we'll see what they do. I mean, it'll be interesting, but that could get Zeitler out of there. Then you could save your money there.
I want to keep Zeitler. I'd rather restructure Zeitler. We're talking about
that too.
They were talking about restructured Solder. I want to restructure Zeitler. I'd rather keep Zeitler this year. That's just me personally.
I'd rather keep Zeitler than Solder.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind restructuring both if the deals made sense. If you could get them down to the right number.
Right.
Joe says draft Slater at 11. That O-line is set. Wide receiver second round. If he's there, you don't know if Rashawn Slater is going to be there. A lot of people are in love with him. Some people say he's the best tackle in this year's draft class. Listen, I'm an offensive line guy. I say it all the time. I've definitely adopted in this year's draft, even though I'm not traditionally a guy that is in favor of taking a wide receiver in the first round. I see it's as big of a need as it is right now for Daniel Jones. I've adopted being completely fine with drafting a wide receiver, but you are never going to see me flip out if you draft a really good tackle prospect in the first round. I think that ultimately, that is the most important part to a football team. Not one singular position, but the offensive line as a whole, as a unit. So I am never going to be upset if they draft an elite offensive line prospect in the first round. But I am definitely more leaning towards getting a weapon in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's protection for Daniel Jones, which is fine. But if that's what they do, and you draft a receiver in the second round, and he's no good, and the Giants don't get one in free agency, I don't want to hear, Daniel Jones has no one to throw to. Daniel Jones has no one to throw to. I don't want to hear that, because then you could say, well, you passed on whoever was out there. Waddle, Smith, Pitts, whoever the hell it may be, you could sit there and go, well, you passed on him. You took a tackle. So who was he going to throw to?
Yeah.
It would help Barkley out. I mean, that's another thing. You set that offensive line. You got your home run in the back. You got to hope Barkley stays healthy. It's big question mark with him, what he's going to do coming off the torn ACL. But still, Daniel Jones needs a reliable target. That's one thing he does not have. There is no – Sterling Shepard's probably the most reliable.
Nope. Bad Dog froze. Let me see if he's – or am I frozen? I think Bad Dog froze. Bad Dog, you're frozen. Maybe Bad Dog's got to pop out and pop back in. I'm going to remove Bad Dog, and when I see him pop back in and he's not frozen, I'm sure he'll come back in. This has happened before. I'm going to talk to the chat for a minute. Bad Dog's going to be back in. I see him in the waiting room, so if he starts moving – I'll bring him back in. There we go. He's good now. He's good now. You're good. You froze for a second.
Yeah, well, that's because there's a lot of wind going on here, man. It is windy as hell right here. So shit's blowing all over the place. It's freaking crazy. So that doesn't surprise me. Actually, surprised me it took that long for that to happen.
What's up, Card Coach, man? Thanks for popping into the stream, my man. What's up, Matthew G? Simon says, would Saquon get the same reaction if we trade him? I think relating it to Odell Beckham. I'm going to say no, and I'm going to give you my reasoning as to why. For some reason, I think Odell Beckham is more loved by a certain group of the fan base than Saquon Barkley. And maybe it has more to do with the fact that Odell Beckham had more success because Barkley's gone down with an injury. I think the major reason, though, I think this fan base hates Dave Gettleman. And Saquon Barkley's attached to Dave Gettleman, or a large portion of this fan base hates Dave Gettleman. And that would be my reasoning as to why I don't think it would have as big of a I guess, resistance that OBJ did.
Yeah, it's weird because I don't know why anybody would like Jerry Reese.
Yeah, that's just my reasoning behind it.
But I think they didn't get him because he traded Odell Beckham.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're right, but he also didn't draft him. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he would have the same reaction. People would have the same reaction if we traded Saquon Barkley. But it sounds like when I talk to people, they seem to want to trade this guy. So I never really heard that with Odell Beckham in terms of the wide majority of the fan base. I see a lot of Giants fans saying, I think we should trade Saquon Barkley. I'm not in favor of extending him, so on and so forth.
I was in favor of trading them both. So there you go. I didn't play no favorites. I was in favor of trading Odell Beckham 2 years before they did it. And I came out of the video. And, of course, it's not popular because whenever you talk about trading a guy that is a great talent but can't stay healthy. Well, Beckham actually produced, but Beckham was also always hurt. And Beckham was a loudmouth. This is something Barkley is not. But, again, instead of paying these guys $19 million a year and you can't stay in the field, to me it's like get what you can and then move on because, again, running backs are replaceable. You know, who is Tampa Bay's running backs this year?
Fournette, he was okay. But
Leonard Fournette.
Yeah.
Is Leonard Fournette better than Saquon Barkley?
No.
They won him with Leonard Fournette, right?
Yeah.
I mean, who did the Patriots win with all their Super Bowls?
Not an elite running back.
Lawrence Maroney?
Yeah.
James White? Sony Michel? Deion Lewis?
You can say the same thing about the wide receivers with the Patriots if you're being honest. They didn't win with Randy Moss.
You don't win with number one receivers either. Outside of Rice, I always say, give me a number one that won one.
Yeah.
Give me a great wide receiver that won one. You get to Marvin Harris.
Well, Tyreek Hill, but
I'm not putting Tyreek Hill in the Jerry Rice.
No, not that level.
I'm not putting him there yet.
Yeah.
But Tyreek Hill's a star.
He was also, if I'm not mistaken, that was before his extension. I could be wrong. I think they extended him, but I think it was before the money kicked in. I could be wrong on that though.
Yeah. So,
and want to say hello to MYB, man. Thanks for popping in the stream. And Hot Nichols says, do you think Saquon should downsize a little to help with injuries? What do you mean? In terms of lose weight? Is that what you mean?
Well, he had a high ankle sprain. That I don't think that had much to do with – I've said it all the time, though, Nick, that these players, and this is why there's so many torn ACLs, because they're so heavy on weight training. And your tendons, and I trust me, as a guy that works out, I understand all this. Your tendons don't get stronger. Your tendons only get weaker as you age. Not that Saquon Barkley's old because he's a kid. But your tendons never get stronger. No matter how strong you get, your tendons are your tendons, and that's it. So when they are not able to hold all that muscle mass and you move wrong, a lot of them go. And it's very common. This is a very, very common football injury. And I know baseball players about working out. Basketball players, not so much. That was a 90s thing in the NBA. You don't really see guys jacked up in the NBA the way they used to be. Baseball players are big. Football players are a different breed. Saquon Barkley's, 230 pounds?
Yeah.
And he's 6 foot tall? Yeah. And there's like 2 ounces of fat on him? And his legs are the size of Kansas? Right? The guy's not human. But your tendons can only hold so much. And like I said, it's a lot of pressure on those tendons. So it might not hurt Saquon Barkley to lose 10 pounds. Listen, Saquon Barkley's on a power back anyway. It might help him to lose 10 pounds, be a little bit more agile.
I'm going to say Afghanistan says it a lot, and I don't know if it's how he's going to be used permanently, but this year, I definitely agree with him for this year. I would like to see him used more in an Alvin Kamara-like role. I don't think that you want to run this guy into the ground coming off the injury. I don't think he's going to be 1,000%. And it's why if Wayne Gallman can be back here, which the more I look at this, by the way, I said it on Twitter this week, Baddog, the more I look at the free agency market at the running back position, the more I think we might be able to bring Wayne Gallman back because there's a lot of pretty established running backs out there. We mentioned Leonard Fournette, Le'Veon Bell, LaShawn McCoy, but there's even younger ones that are pretty established. I don't remember the names off the top of my head, but there's like 5 or 6 running backs that could easily be looked at as more attractive than Gallman. And with a shrunken market, we may be able to get Gallman back on a $2 or $2.5 million contract. And at that point, if we can, I would love that. I think he's a perfect complement to Barkley. And I think, somebody on Twitter also said to me, I don't like that idea because he's a volume runner. But I think Gallman will get more work than you think. With Barkley still returning from the injury. Not that it'll be 50-50, but I think he'll get more work than you think.
What do you think about Marlon Mack? That's a name that's.
I saw that. Yeah,
that's another guy that you could. Again, I think Marlon Mack and Wayne Gallman are about the same. I'd rather have Gallman back if they're going to.
The other thing with Marlon Mack, if I'm not mistaken, I'm almost positive he's coming off an injury too. Yeah. So you'd have him and Barkley both coming off injuries. I'd rather stick with who we got. I think Gallman did a good job this year.
Too. Yeah, Gallman did a great job. I mean, Gallman had a bunch of games over 100 yards. He had 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think he's a good compliment too. If you could get him back on a cheap deal. Yeah. And Pete, man, thank you very much, man. I really appreciate. Aaron Jones is one of the bigger names. Yeah. Conventional wisdom is part wide receivers don't pay running backs. That's why people feel that way. Plus, Super Bowl is a perfect pick bait. Oh, Saquon Barkley is a perfect pick bait player. Some teams will become convinced he's the missing piece and give us 2 twos. I mean, that's entirely possible, especially if he shows that he's healthy. You might be able to get good draft capital. But you could say the same thing about Odell Beckham, I suppose. But listen, at the end of the day, I get the argument that people feel like wide receiver is more important in modern-day football. I don't think Saquon Barkley is a traditional running back. I view him more as a weapon when he's healthy. But I want to see him this year. I want to see how he plays with the improved offensive line, and I'll worry about that next offseason. I'm not going to worry about that going into the year. Mark says, why didn't we try and sign Leonard Floyd last year? Leonard Floyd, if I'm not mistaken, let me look up his contract.
I don't think we had the money.
I think he got a pretty good contract, if I'm not mistaken. And the other thing I'll always say is, just because we don't sign guys, Baddog, like everybody went all over after the Giants because we didn't get Corey Littleton. They may not want to come here.
Yep.
So, I always say that when people criticize whether it's Gettleman or whether it's any one of my GMs in any of the teams that I follow, just because you don't get a guy doesn't mean that we didn't show interest. We may not have been his first choice. Not everybody wants to come to New York, believe it or not.
Listen, Trevor Bauer is a perfect example. Best thing ever happened to the Mets is that guy going. He was going to California. He was going out west. It's where the guy wanted to be. He would have sucked for the Mets. I guarantee that guy could have never handled the New York media. That was good that the Mets missed on that guy. He stinks. But the better question mark is, how do the Giants get outmaneuvered and allow Chicago to draft Leonard Floyd when we should have drafted him and ended up with Eli Apple? That's a better question. How do we not draft Leonard Floyd?
I saw somebody say he signed for $5 million. From what I see, and maybe this is wrong, it was 1 year, $10 million in 2020. 1 year's $10 million, a $5 million signing bonus with $10 million guaranteed. It was a fully guaranteed $10 million contract last year, Leonard Floyd.
Yeah.
And I think the Giants, they only had so much money. They thought they needed to get Martinez to replace Ogletree, and they thought obviously they needed to get Bradbury to replace Janoris Jenkins.
Listen, what the Giants did work last year.
They had a great offseason in terms of free agency. There's no denying.
Their defense was huge last
year. Yeah. It was $10 million more.
On the linebackers, though. They brought in Blake Martinez. They brought in Kyler Fackrell. They have Xemines. They have
Logan Ryan. They got two.
I'm saying linebacker wise. They also have Xemines and Carter. They thought they were playing, part of their future. They also had Marcus Golden, who ended up coming back. Now they ended up trading him for a 6th-round pick, but they were loaded at that position. Not that they were superstars, but they had a lot of them. They had a lot, and they drafted a ton of them. On top of it, so
Cam Brown, Carter Coughlin.
Right, so I'm guessing that's why they didn't sign him back or sign Leonard Floyd.
Yeah. Let's see what we got here. Who do you think the Giants will bring in free agency this year, Danny? It's impossible to tell. It's throwing darts at the board. But what I'll say, Danny, is we got to figure out if we're bringing our guys back first. And I think we're going to get that answer more than likely before free agency starts, at least with Leonard Williams. I think we're going to find – if we don't tag him by March 9th, I think we're losing him. I think somebody's going to sign him. That's my honest prediction. If we're not able to work out a contract extension by March 9th and we don't tag him, I think somebody's going to overpay for him, and I think we're going to lose him. Because Gettleman has a history of playing hardball. I don't think he's going to pay him more than he thinks he's worth. I could be wrong. But that's the first question we have to answer. If we miss out on Leonard Williams, obviously it opens up the possibility of bringing other guys. But, of course, you also got to factor in that you lost your best player in last year's defense. If not him, then James Bradbury. So that would be a major loss. So that's the first thing, man. That's going to take up a huge sum of our free agency money. Last year, we didn't have that. That's why we were more active. Baddog. Who did we have on our team that we were bringing back last year? Nobody. So that's why I think we had a lot more free agent acquisitions last year. This year, you've got two big members of last year's defense hitting free agency. So in an ideal world, I want to keep it intact. I mean, within reason. I don't want to go crazy, in terms of what we pay these guys. But I think that's where the bulk of it will probably be spent if we bring these guys back.
Yeah. Leonard Williams is a big part of the defense. Yeah, heart and soul of the defensive line. I think he makes the front seven better all by himself. He commands a lot of attention in the middle. I think he made Dalvin Tomlinson better. I think he makes Dexter Lawrence better. I think he makes Blake Martinez better. I think he makes those guys better. And to me, I think that Leonard Williams needs it. The only thing I worry about Leonard Williams, I'm not saying it's him, but some guys get paid and then they're like, well, I made it, so now who gives a damn? I'm not going to work as hard. I worked for what I needed to get. That always concerns me no matter who they're signing. But what doesn't concern me is him fitting into Patrick Graham's scheme and being able to produce. And we saw that last year. And we saw it in big games. He had a big game against Seattle. He had a big game against Dallas the last game of the season. He had 5 sacks in those 2 games. I mean, he stepped up big in big games. That's really what you want. So to me, if they're not going to be able to get a Galladay, they're not going to be able to get an Allen Robinson, then I think you need to take the bulk of your free agency money and you need to bring back Leonard Williams. I just think he's too important to what this defense does. It would be an enormous loss if they let him walk.
Yeah, I want to bring him back almost at all costs, but at the same time, I think there's a limit that you can't.
Yeah, I don't want to give him 5 years, $105 million. Like I'm not looking to do that. That's
what I worry. If he hits the open market, all it takes is one team.
Yep.
With the Giants were one of those teams in 2016. Look at Olivier Vernon. We gave him a 5-year contract.
Yeah,
so
5 years, $85 million. Listen, Chris, I'm with you. If somebody offers Leonard Williams that kind of money, then you have to say.
That's why I think you have to tag him and tell him you want to work out a deal before the season starts, because I think there will be one team. I think if he does hit the market, there's going to be one team that throws a ton of money at him. That's just the way it works.
Yeah.
But we'll see. And Justin, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. He says, sorry, joined late. Did you see that the Browns and Colts supposedly offered Watt more money? I did not, but I'm surprised by that.
I'm surprised he wouldn't go to the Colts.
Or the Browns. I think the Browns are a better situation than Arizona, too.
Play in warmer weather. Cleveland's Houston's warm, so I don't know, but that's strange. Can you imagine Watt and Garrett? That would have been a pretty good bookend.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got Collins over there in Arizona, but I don't like that fit. I mean, I get that he fits the scheme and everything else. I'm not as high on Arizona as most people. A lot of people were in love with them last year. I wasn't. I'm still not in love with them. I'm not saying they can't be a good team. I don't think they're going to be a great team. And they play in the best division, in my opinion, in the NFL. So if I'm Watt and I'm trying to look at the best possibility to win a championship, which if it's not about the money, which apparently it wasn't, if that's true, I don't see how Arizona was your best fit. I think Buffalo would have been a much better fit to win a championship. I think the Browns, I think the Colts. I think there's a number of teams that he could have went through that I thought would have been a much better fit for him to potentially win a championship.
Somebody in that chat said Leonard Williams isn't good. Well, I guess everybody has an opinion. I don't know what Giants team you watched or what Leonard Williams you're talking about, but he was pretty damn good. 11.5 sacks is pretty damn good for a defensive tackle. I mean, I don't know too many defensive tackles getting double-digit sacks outside of Aaron Donald. So it was pretty good. I can't say Leonard Williams isn't good. Leonard Williams is pretty good.
And I've seen Viz ask this a couple of times. He says, should we trade down to 15 or 20 and draft Rashad Bateman? And I mean, listen, there's got to be a partner. First things first, everybody could say, when you do these mock drafts, everybody says, oh, I traded down, I got this guy, I got that guy, I got that guy. That's Fantasyland. That's Madden. Real life, is there a team willing to take that big jump? That's the first question. And secondly, I got to know who's on the board. And I would tell you more than likely we're not trading down. I think the Giants are going to look to try to help.
What are the Patriots going to move up 4 spots for, though? That we talked about that earlier. That's the thing. Why do you move up to 11? Like, what player are you looking at? And you go, we have got to have this guy. It's Kyle Pitts. That's the way. And if Kyle Pitts is there, the Giants need to take Kyle Pitts themselves.
Yeah. And D. Tom says, who knows if OBJ gets hurt, if he's still on the Giants, different team, set of circumstances. I don't like that logic to justify us winning the trade.
But it's facts. He's hurt. You can't say that if he's on the Giants, he doesn't get hurt. You don't know he was hurt a lot of times.
You know what, D. Tom? Let's just agree to this. We didn't lose the trade. You want to say we didn't win the trade because you don't want to take that in? I could confidently say we didn't lose the trade because we weren't winning with Odell, and we're not winning without him. And and Cleveland's not winning because of him. So we didn't lose the trade. Let's put it that way.
He missed 4 games his rookie season because of injury. He missed almost all of 2017 because of injury. He missed the last 4 games of 2018 because of injury. And then he goes to Cleveland, and he gets injured a bunch of times over there. Obviously, there's a pattern with Odell Beckham. Everybody's talking about, is it Jalen Waddle's size? You know, like, Odell Beckham's a rail. Odell Beckham ain't a big guy. Yeah. So maybe that's something to do with it. I don't know.
No, you're right though. People, the people that say he may not have gotten injured here, he did. He missed a season's worth of games the 2 years before we traded him. Yeah. He only played 16 out of 32 games before we traded him.
So it's got nothing to do with different circumstances or injury. It's fact. Even when he wasn't injured, for the longest time the year before, Daniel Jones had more rushing touchdowns than Odell Beckham had receiving touchdowns for the longest time in 2019. And then people go, well, it's Baker Mayfield's fault. It's the coach's fault. And some people just will not place blame on their favorite players, no matter what the hell the circumstances is, no matter what the facts are. They will skew everything, say, well, it's not Beckham's fault. It's Mayfield's fault. Well, it's not this. It's that. It's definitely not Beckham. It's this. It's got to be this. It's got to be that. Can't be Beckham. Some people do that with Daniel Jones, too. Can't be Daniel Jones. It's not him. It's not his reason. For his fault. He got sacked. Not his fault. He threw the interception. He's got no number one receiver. Jason Garrett stinks. This guy's no good. They got no offensive line. Saquon Barkley's out there. It doesn't matter what you do. You love a player, you're going to defend your player. I get it. But facts are, Odell Beckham's been hurt, hasn't produced in Cleveland. Jabril Peppers has produced a lot for us. Dexter Lawrence has produced a lot for us as well. So, yeah, I think that the Giants did okay in that trade. And we freed up a lot of cap space to get James Bradbury and Blake Martinez. So, really, you got 4 players for Odell Beckham, and they've all produced for us. Beckham has not produced for Cleveland. That's my logic and why we won that trade. There you go.
I'm with you, man. Injuries are part of the sport in football, and it's not. I would understand that logic more, and then I'm done with OBJ.
I know. I know,
and I got to answer. But I would understand that logic more if he didn't have an injury history before we traded him.
Right.
He had 2 major injuries before we traded him, and then he got hurt again.
He had what? He had shoulder surgery, had ankle surgery, and he had like hernia surgery. He had like 3 major operations every offseason. He was always hurt. Always.
Yeah. And Al, man, thank you so much, man. Guys, how the heck are you two? Al, man, glad to see you, my man. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing good, man. I'm getting ready for free agency. Al,
I got a guy got to take care of that thing for me there, Al. That thing over there. You know the thing? Yeah. Yeah, that guy, yeah.
I got to shout out Jets. We got to do something together again, man. Love that guy. He's got a great channel over there. Maybe we'll do something after free agency. Maybe we'll talk about how the Jets and Giants did. Whether you come on mine, you come on yours. But want to shout him out. He's got a great channel over there. He's putting good work. He says, "Do the Jets get a higher pick if the Giants re-sign Leonard Williams? I know it would escalate if we signed a long-term deal last offseason, but not sure if that is officially done at this point." I'm going to be completely honest. I don't want to give you the wrong answer. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't think so because I think it was this year's draft, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that's already been determined, but I'm not 1,000% sure on that.
Yeah, I don't remember either. I thought if the Giants let him go, the Jets got a 5th-round pick, and if the Giants kept him, the Jets got a 4th-round pick. They obviously gave up the 3rd. But I thought it kind of washed out because if the Giants let him walk, they'd get a compensatory pick. So the 3rd kind of ended up washing itself away. But for some reason, again, and I'm not positive either, but I thought that if the Giants kept him, they would give up a 4th to the Jets. And if they let him walk, they give up a 5th to the Jets. But again, I could be wrong on that too because I really don't remember.
Now, the one thing I did read today, and I forgot who reported it on Twitter, and this could suck for the Giants if it's true. You remember last year when Leonard Williams was fighting to get defensive end money with the franchise tag as opposed to defensive tackle, right? Apparently, that has not been resolved yet. And it's still being looked at or whatever. And if he gets the defensive end money, instead of costing $19 to tag him, it would cost $21.5. So that's a thing. I don't know how legitimate that is. It wasn't a random that tweeted it. It was somebody with credentials.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah. So that could suck.
You got to do what you got to do. He's got to be tagged no matter what.
To try to work out that extension.
Yep.
And Bryce, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Have you realized the Knicks haven't lost since Bobby Schmurder? It's true. Now, to be fair, Bryce, it doesn't hurt. Some of the teams we've been playing aren't the best of basketball teams, but that is true. And we'll see how they do tomorrow when they go up against probably the best team they've played in a bit in the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, that should be a good game. I think the Spurs lost. I think they were in overtime at Brooklyn last I saw, but I think Brooklyn ended up winning that game. San Antonio's good.
Yeah, they're all right. I mean, listen, Greg Popovich always gets the most out of his team.
That's true. I think the Knicks will beat them, though.
We need it. We need to. You look at the beginning of our second half schedule. We need to get as many wins as we can.
Everybody's second half schedule is brutal.
Yeah.
A lot of back-to-backs.
We played the Lakers twice. Ugh.
Yeah, well, April 12th and May 11th. It's not like I don't know. I would say the Lakers are very. I never know the damn word, but the Lakers are very good as far as working around my schedule. I noticed they don't have a game on April 7th. That's a little Bad Dog's birthday. I noticed they don't have a game on April 11th. That's Mrs. Bad Dog's birthday. So, see how they work around my schedule? They play on Easter against the Clippers. I don't know what I'm going to do there, but
I can take the day off. You can take one game off.
I mind. It's a 3:30 game in the afternoon. That means it's 4:30 in the morning, where a lot of my fans watch overseas. That's middle of they're sleeping. It's the Clippers, though, man.
Yeah, that's a big game. Kyle, you must love this. He's on the workout machine, it looks like, in the picture. Kyle says, gentlemen, who are your...
I'll lower this. I have the chat up there. Oh, yeah, there he is. Yeah.
Who are your favorite second-tier free agents? I love Troy Hill with the Rams, Dunbar with Washington. Won't be super expensive, but could play out very well. And I only bust Leo because he isn't consistent. I guess he was responding to what you were saying. I guess he was the guy in the chat.
I don't know if anybody's really consistent. I mean, these guys with high sack numbers, they're going to have off days. I mean, he's not going to get a sack every game. But he came up big in big spots, and that was. And you also got to remember at the beginning of the year, he's getting acclimated to a new system. I just felt like he played much better second half of the year because they got acclimated. The Giants played much better the second half of the year. Started off 1-7 again.
Yeah. In terms of second tier free agents, I mean, everybody's bringing up Darrell Williams, but we've been bringing up Darrell Williams now for 2 years. Hasn't come here. Obviously, Gettleman drafted him the right tackle. He's a guy. Tyrell Williams is a guy I keep bringing up, who I'd be interested in. Had a really good year with the Chargers before he got hurt with the Raiders. If he, I think he'll be really cheap. He's a possibility for a cheap free agent. Xavier Rose is a guy. He's older, so he may not cost a lot. He would fill in that second cornerback spot. Those are some second tier free agents, but there's so many guys I could mention. But those are some of the names that I've thrown out before. Also, what's his name? Is the receiver on the Rams? Is it Reynolds?
Yes, that's the one L.A. Lou talks about.
Yeah, we've talked about him. He's another guy. He's tall. I think he's 6'2". He may be cost effective. But there's so many guys, man. We'll see who they pick.
Yeah, Tyrell Williams is another guy you mention all the time. That's be a bad second tier free agent. So I don't know. I mean, if the Giants do go out and get Leonard Williams back, that's all they're going to be able to sign is tier 2 guys.
He brings up Carl Lawson or Fred as a second tier, and Mike Hilton. Mike Hilton's a guy I like. He's a cornerback that a lot of people think could be a good guy to pick up in terms of a second tier guy. I don't really view Carl Lawson as a second tier guy. Maybe not a 1. He's kind of a 1.5 type guy, but he's not coming cheap. Carl Lawson had the second most quarterback pressures in football last year, or quarterback hits, whatever it was. But I don't think he's coming super cheap. Those other guys, they're kind of second. I guess Samuel's second tier for the wide receiver position in Davis, but they're not coming that cheap. Kenyon Drake, maybe?
He's a third tier guy.
Yeah.
I'd rather get Dolman back than Kenyon Drake, honestly.
Yeah. Let's see what we got here. I'm channeling my inner Jerome from WFN. Gettleman has to go. I will talk to you. All right, Giants clown. Be good, man. Let's see. What do you think about spending $15 million on Joe Thuney or Brandon Scherf? They're talking about guards in free agency and cutting Zeitler for $12. That's spending $3 million to get younger, better guard.
That one I read. I read that about how Brandon Scherf could end up with the Giants and sign long-term with the Giants because the Redskins haven't done it. Trying to get some revenge. Of course, this is the guy that the Giants, again, wanted to draft in 2015 and Washington took him, and Reese panicked and took Eric Flowers because that's what Reese did. Reese never knew what to do when his guy was picked. He never had a backup plan. He just took whatever the hell was there, and that was it. And then that was a disaster. I don't think that the Washington football team I don't think they're going to let Sheriff walk. I think they're going to end up signing him. I really do. But if the Giants could get Sheriff in place of Zeitler, I would do it.
Yeah, if it's the same money, basically.
I would do it. Yep.
Now, again, it's about the years for me, though. I want 5-year deals. I'm reluctant for 5-year deals.
I think he's 29, so it's not like he's no. I'm sorry, 20. Was he 20? And maybe he is 29, 28. Maybe he'll be 29 this year. Yeah, it's 6 years. So maybe he'll be 29. So he's not much younger. And you're not going to give him a long-term deal. Again, maybe 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years I'm okay. I'm more than okay with that for 3 years for either one of those guys. So, yeah, in an ideal world, sure, I'm okay with that, Giants fan. Let's see. Stand up. You guys look like he's talking about you. You look at this safety from Saratoga County. His name is Kevin, but he's known as Baddog. Apparently he's a stud. What's going on, Kalen?
Yeah, I'm not quite the size of safety anymore. I dropped a lot of weight, so now I'm more the size of a cornerback. And there's no more 220-pound Baddog. It's like 183-pound Baddog now. So much faster and much more flexible, but definitely not a safety
anymore. Gabriel Garcia says William Jackson, the third cornerback, sign him. I love him. In terms of free agent acquisition, I think he's going to go for more than what the projections say. He's only 25 years old. Usually guys that are kind of in the prime of their career are going to go for more, but we'll see. But I think he's going to be a guy a lot of teams look at. But I know a lot of Giants fans have had their eyes on him out of Cincinnati. They also may tag him. I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, Nick DeWitt says, thoughts on taking standout offensive lineman Bobby Woodruff from the second round.
He can play center.
Maybe only he comes in. It's a package deal, though. Seahawk must come along.
Let's see. Have a good night talking with Landon. I'm just trying to answer a couple of these for you guys. We're only going to go for about another 5-10 minutes, but I'm trying to pick out. I'm not trying to pick a random one because you never know what you're picking out when you pick out one of these in the chat. So, all right. Danny Dime says, "What's your predictions for the New York Giants in 2021?" I'll start with it. First, I can't give you a full prediction yet until I know what the team is. We still don't know half the team. We don't know what they're going to do in free agency. We don't know what they're going to do in the draft. But I'm going to tell you right now, I expect a better football team. If they added nobody to this team and brought back the same exact team, which is not going to happen, obviously, I would predict they'd be a much better football team for the simple reason of familiarity, for playing in the same scheme for a second year on both sides of the ball.
Easier too.
Well, yeah, Judge's second year as well. So I think they're going to be a better football team. I think they're going to make ads. I think they're going to have another good offseason, just like last year, whether it be in the draft or free agency. Maybe not as good because they don't have as much money to spend, and they got to spend some of that retaining some of the players that were on last year's roster. But I think the Giants are going to have a good offseason like last year, within reason. If you're one of these guys that expects them to sign 3 high-profile players, well, then just yell into a pillow right now because it's not going to happen. That's Fantasyland. But I think they'll have a good offseason. I think they'll have a good draft. And I think they're going to be a much better team because they come back. Plus, Barkley comes back. Everybody discounts that. Barkley's a huge addition. And if Lorenzo Carter's healthy, he could be a huge addition to the defense as well. So my expectations right now is at a minimum of 8 wins. At a minimum of 8 wins. And I'm probably going to predict higher than that. But that's my minimum, what I'm going to be expecting going into next year.
10-6, NFC East is ours. There's my prediction.
There you go. You just heard it there.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's see what we got here. If our defense stays the same, we will have 6 wins. If our offense can average more points per game, we can have up to 10. Yeah, I agree with that. I would if the offense becomes a league average offense and the defense maintains what they did last year, we're a 10-win team.
That's why I'm all about getting offense. That's why I'm all about the offense. I am all about offense this year. Usually about defense, but I'm all about the offense this year.
How good do you think Saquon will be next year? It's tough to know, and even if he stays healthy, it's tough to know. I think eventually he's obviously going to be the same player, but it's tough to know if he's going to be the same player right out of the gate. A lot of people say it takes a year before you really hit your stride again with an injury like that. So if there's anybody that's going to come back quickly, it's him. We were talking about how the guy's built like an ox. He's a freak. And maybe that'll be the case. You don't want to rush it, though. You don't want to re-aggravate that injury. But if he's 100%, I think you're going to see a great Saquon this year because I think the offensive line is going to be much better, and I think they're going to get pieces to help out the overall offense. Not to mention Jones will be more accustomed to the scheme and everything else. So if we have Barkley from his rookie year in terms of health, I think he's going to have a terrific year if he can stay on the football field.
Let me ask you about this guy. And again, I don't know where this guy is. I thought he's a free agent. I could be completely wrong. Maybe he's signed somewhere. About Adrian Peterson.
What is he, like 35 now?
Who gives a damn? That guy, he wants to keep playing. That guy's a freak. What about Adrian Peterson? Bring him in for a year for like $5 million.
You love Adrian Peterson.
I love Adrian Peterson. Always going to score. But seriously, what? Adrian Peterson, he's come off the ACL twice. He don't give a damn. He tears ACL, almost breaks a single season rushing record. He's AP, damn it. It doesn't matter.
Hey, I don't think I'd pay $5 million for him, but if I get him for 2.5, and he wants to play, how about it?
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here.
And up in smoke, I pray that AP breaks that rushing record. I don't want Emmitt Smith to have that anymore. Most overrated running back in the history of football. Everybody, I put something on Twitter. I said Tiki Barber is better than Emmitt Smith. Changed my mind. Nobody says anything. Nobody tries to change my mind. They're just like, you're crazy. Really not. Look at the numbers. Tiki was way better on a way worse offense. And Tiki was better than Emmitt Smith. And I will go to my grave saying that. And I watched them both play. And Emmitt Smith's one of the most overrated running backs in the history of football. And I will go to my grave saying that too. So
there you go.
Dallas and absolutely sucked. Why? Because Arizona wasn't nearly as good offense. If Emmitt Smith was on a bad team in his career, he would have been an average running back. That's a fact.
Kyle Patrick says, keeping Lorenzo Carter. I see no reason to cut him. As long as he provides that he's, suitable to play. Obviously, you worry about last year. What the hell is his name? The linebacker that everybody loved that we drafted in the 5th round the year before. Why am I forgetting his name?
Conley?
Yeah, Conley, Ryan Conley. We cut him because he wasn't the same player coming off the injury. So maybe if that's the case, but as long as he provides that he's healthy and can play, I see no reason to cut Lorenzo Carter. I think Lorenzo Carter fits this scheme beautifully. He's got to stay healthy, but there's no reason to cut him.
Do we play 17 games this year, or is it still 16?
I don't think it's a foregone conclusion yet. I don't think they know yet.
Okay, I was going to say, I know they're going to 17 soon here, but I didn't know when it was.
It's supposed to be this year, but I don't think it's etched in stone yet.
Okay.
And from what I've heard, if we are going 17, we'll be playing the Miami Dolphins, and it's going to be in Miami. That's what I heard. So we'll see. No. So yeah, they're saying I don't know if it's etched in stone yet. Those 17 games, probably going to happen. Yeah, but it's not 100% yet. Let's see. Giants need a corner, 2 offensive linemen, 2 wide receivers, 1 edge, backup running back. Sure. I mean, in an ideal world, I don't think you're going to get all of that, if we're being real, in terms of impact players. I think 1 offensive lineman, 1 wide receiver is probably what you're going to get, and they're going to fill in other needs. A corner, I think you'll get that, whether it's free agency or the draft. I'm talking about in terms of impact players. Maybe you'll get 2 wide receivers late in the draft. But in terms of high-impact players, I think you'll get 1. I think you'll get an impact offensive lineman, whether it's a guard or a tackle or a center. You'll get a backup running back. It may be re-signing Wayne Gallman in the draft. I think you'll get some of that. I don't think you're going to get 2 impact offensive linemen and 2 impact wide receivers for this year's team. I'd be surprised.
I'm very surprised. They can pull that off.
Yeah. Let's see. And we're going to answer like 2 more, and then we're going to call it a night. Giants fan says, assuming we tag a trade Williams and re-sign Tomlinson, we'll have money for a high-profile free agent. Assuming we tag and trade Williams. Sure. But here's the thing I always say to this Giants fan, and sure, if you could get Shaq Barrett, or if you could get, do they want to come here?
Shaq Barrett ain't going anywhere, man. He's not a Super Bowl winner.
Yeah. Does Shaq Barrett want to come here? Does Allen Robinson want to come here? Does Kenny Golladay want to come here? Or are they even going to have the option to come here? Are they going to be franchise tagged? So sure, in an ideal world in fantasy land, which maybe it would be the case, we don't know. It's easy to say, let's do this, and just sign these guys. A lot of people said the same thing about Corey Littleton last year. The guy didn't want to come here. So sure, if they want to come here, that'd be great. But that's why grass isn't always greener.
I don't know if the Giants could re-sign Tomlinson and afford Shaq Barrett anyway. Shaq Barrett's going to get $20 million a year. I can't see them affording him.
Yeah. And have a great night up in smoke. Odell, thank you very much.
It's Don Reddick. He's going to be half the price.
He's possible. He fits the scheme. I saw you made a video on him a couple of weeks ago. He could make sense if you lose a guy out on Leonard Williams. Odell the best, and I think they're going to lose him now that they got J.J. Watt. Odell the best says, guys, Devin White and Levante David was a huge reason that the Bucs won the chip. What linebacker would you want to draft and free agency? I don't think we're going to spend big money on a linebacker in free agency. We did it last year with Martinez. I don't see that. I think Tate Crowder played decent last year, but I could see them drafting a linebacker.
Parsons.
Yeah, Parsons would be the obvious first-round guy. There's a number of guys they could take in the second round, but yeah, Parsons would be your obvious guy in the first round. I've seen people talk about the guy from the Bills. I can't think of his name.
His
name's escaped me right now, but I've seen people. I don't see the Giants spending a lot of money on the other linebacker spot. They spent a lot on Martinez already. I'd be very surprised if that were the case. I'd be very surprised. But guys, we are going to close this out. It's 12:05. I'll be live tomorrow. Are the Lakers playing tomorrow? I don't even know.
Yes, they are playing the Suns.
Okay, so we'll both be live tomorrow, and we'll be doing the Giants show on Bad Dogs next week. Obviously, if anything breaks, we'll have Giants coverage up. But guys, I
have no video. I have nothing.
There's not a lot to talk about right now.
There's nothing to talk about. I'm looking every day to do a video. I'm like, what am I going to say? I got nothing. I have nothing right now.
There's not anything impactful right now. Ooh. But guys, I just want to say thank you to everybody for being here. I appreciate it. Appreciate all the support that you guys always show both of us. Love doing this show. We're going to continue to be live. We're going to continue, especially as it becomes more relevant. You're going to get a lot more Giants coverage. This is the dead time right now. Last year we didn't have this because of the coaching search and everything else. But it's the dead time right now. But it's going to pick up real fast, and it's going to pick up in 2 weeks. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for all the support. Bad Dog, of course. Thank you for coming on. Looking forward to going on your channel next week. Close it out, my man.
Yeah, again, guys, when I looked, we had 550 people in. I don't know where it was at now. But again, the fact that there's that many people in these streams when there really is nothing to talk about, just speculation and what we could do. In a couple of weeks, things are really going to pick up when we do start to sign free agents, see where other free agents go. And then we'll have a clearer picture on the draft and what positions the Giants do need or may be looking at. And obviously, we'll have a lot more to talk about. So, we appreciate you hanging out with us through this dead time. And, we took a month off after the Super Bowl because just not really much to talk about. I'm not after the Super Bowl.
Leading up to the Super Bowl.
Probably leading up to the Super Bowl. So, it's just difficult right now because there really is nothing to talk about. There's nothing set in stone. We don't know what's going on. And, we're going to find out together. And like I said, we'll have a lot more to talk about in a couple of weeks. But we really appreciate all the support. You guys always have great questions. And, you have a lot of good ideas. So, this is going to be a good year, guys. Like I'm telling you right now, I feel it. So this is the most confident I've been about the New York Giants going into a year in a lot of years.
I'm with you on that.
Right now. So we're going to have a fun year this year. Hope you guys will be around for it. You guys and girls, I know you will be. So we appreciate the support very, very much. Thank you guys for everything.
Do what you do.
All right. So for the entertaining talking sports, it's the Bad Diggy Dizzle. Have a great night, everybody. We gone. Peace.